Let's get it started and let's get the ball rolling. It's time to continue and hopefully maybe finish the Cult of Colts streams today. And I've actually been sitting here for a couple minutes thinking on our next course of action. Because I know we're trying to suppress the trade union with the combination axe, or at least just mess around with it because it's funny. I think we are actually going to pass multiculturalism today. We didn't do it initially because it technically reduces the assimilation speed, which is technically not a good thing, considering we're wanting more Dixie and Yankee pops to then... Well, I guess we can only convert Yankee now. We lost the Dixie one, so it's really just conversion into Yankee that we're getting. And if we get multiculturalism, we get a 25% penalty here, which really is counteracted by our education level since we're using public education still. But as you can see here, the high fervor for cultures like the Russian culture is massively reducing our multiplier for simulation speed anyway. So honestly, switching to multiculturalism wouldn't really slow it that much in the end. The reason why I'm talking about that is because if we go over to our Chinese puppet states, we got the Guangdong clique to open up its borders. We got them to switch to migration control specifically. And that is actually starting to see some pop migration to the US. Now, obviously, we still have peasants. We still have unemployed. I am going to severely ramp up our construction for the last couple of decades as we try to get the other ones to do the same thing. And right now, the Shandong clique looks like that might happen. We can actually make Yunnan here into a puppet, so we're going to do that right now. I hadn't checked at the end of last stream. And they actually have migration controls, so this state right here can already have its pops leave us. If we switch to multiculturalism, the Han pops will have a better standard of living in our country. And right now, they only have a base acceptance of 20. Obviously, if they convert to the state culture, that bumps them up to open prejudice. Still not great, but it's better. So the idea here is we're going to make it easier for them to just migrate over here. The fervor is getting so high now that the assimilation speed's already so slow that even if we switch to multiculturalism and eat the minus 25 assimilation speed, it's still going to be really slow. We're just looking... Vow to pass wage subsidies next. Wait. But if I pass wage subsidies, you'll actually lose your religious house bonus. Your religious workhouses. Which is literally giving you a pop attraction bonus. But then again, they do love it. Actually, political concessions is better for them. Yeah. So... what we're also going to do, as I mentioned it mere seconds ago, is we're going to ramp up production. And I'm actually going to build out the New England area here, since that's where Connecticut is. We'll let that go first. And we'll actually just try to make sure this passes by just giving them all political concessions. Because now the stall chance is just the liberal movement, which perhaps somewhat ironically doesn't actually want to do multiculturalism. They're actually pretty upset by that. But I think that's just because... at the time frame, the liberal thing was cultural exclusion, I suppose. It's hard to word it, but, you know. Different timeline, different time period. We have foreign cues? Oh, right! We gave one of our subjects investment rights into us, didn't we? How is that coming along, actually? Have they started to own anything elsewhere? They've started to do it in other subjects, actually. They are owning our dye plantation, which... I actually like the idea of that because that means these dye plantations are getting a throughput bonus they otherwise wouldn't get. Which, we do have it all set to privatization. That's good. I don't think they'll buy up too much in the end, but it is one of those little nice things. Are you... you are not one of our subjects. So, in continuation with... ooh, should we just annex them into... because what is your... they have closed borders. I would actually rather annex them into Yunnan. Which I might be slightly mispronouncing there. But the idea here is that we'll just combine them into one of our larger subjects already. That we already have. Guatemala, you're an anarchist. I recognize the flag. Council Republic, anarchy, cooperative ownership. Sure, religious harmony is what we'll say on paper at least. In reality, there's going to be a lot of questions at the next meeting. But not to worry. Actually, would automation even help you at this stage? Or that... not really. Not with what you're paying. It wouldn't really help you. Well, that's what the game's saying, but the game could be lying to us. The game is not 100% accurate when it comes to telling you whether automation is good. It has gotten better over the years with telling you that stuff, but it's still not accurate. when it's telling you whether or not automation is going to make a building more profitable or less profitable. So that's one of the things I actually hope for them to improve in Victoria 3 in the future is the automation tool tipping. It, like I said, it has gotten better compared to before, but there are still some subject cases where it kind of lies to you, not necessarily on purpose, but it does kind of lie to you from time to time. Yunnan plantation. So what, you're just investing into opium? Pure opium at that. Excellent. I'm glad to see that they're going to get everyone high later. That'll go great. Trust me. You have shipyard combine. See, that could be fun. I might give them investment rights too. And they have the textile syndicate and the fabric guild. You know what? This is probably not the wisest thing to do, but we will actually give them investment rights whenever... Oh, right. They have to have a... Oh, you know, it's a good thing we gave them investment rights when we did, because our GDP's now shot up so much. Since their GDP is less than 10% of ours, I can't even give them investment rights. As a subject, that is. God, that's really a lot of expense for running. I mean, we'll be fine in the end. Yeah, our GDP's already going up. We'll be fine. It's just going to take a bit. There we go. 41% success chance. Yeah, that should pass without issue. And we kind of did this on purpose because we're expecting the investment pool to take over as their reinvestment grows. So eventually we can just let them take over a good chunk of it anyway. Oh, they just backed down. They just let themselves be annexed. Okay. You are going to get this new fine state, so that will already drop you down a little. I hope they fix that issue with the sound noise, because my thought process is just let them control some of it. They already have migration controls instead of closed borders, so their pops will be able to migrate. Who's having a revolt? Oh. Yunnan literally just had a revolt in its own capital and it got name changed. What a fun game. I also figured out that the little lag issues we're having in the game is actually due to a Windows update, and unfortunately, after doing some checks, it looks like Windows is not letting me revert the update, which is a bit annoying. Because I think another security update already dropped before I learned about it. And so I'm kind of just stuck with it now, which is a little frustrating. Hopefully Windows will fix that at some point. Knowing Windows with their recent mass usage of AI to write their updates, though, that may not get fixed anytime soon. Which sounds very disappointing. We never switched to combustion engine derricks on the oil rigs. We don't need that much oil, but I really should switch to it anyway. Just because they are a lot more productive. We will need to make more engines to come up with that. But in 5 months, we get the compression ignition engine, so they're going to collapse. The oil rigs will collapse right now, but in a few months, they'll do very good. Oh, did Shandong fail it in the end? They did, yeah. Oh, that sucks. Can you... Oh, you have a 42% stall chance. Your rule folk are really upset. Oh, yeah, they are really upset. They're led by a land reformer and everything, too. What if you switch to, like, you don't even know what mutual... You don't even have mutual funds. Oh, God. Oh, they don't even know what that is. I can make them pass public health care. If they had open borders, I'd make them do that. Actually, speaking of which, we should make Guangdong pass public health care just so their growth rate goes up, so more pops will migrate from them then. They have a lot of peasants, but that's okay. Because, like, Fujian here is supplying places like Eastern Cuba and New Jersey with pops. So, actually, if we go to New Jersey, almost 20% of the population is Han pops. So, it's got a lot of paper mills there that are just printing out good pieces of paper. Livy, hi. I might mispronounce Livy there. I don't know if I am or not. Trust me, I will butcher things, and I will try to unbutcher it, and then I will eventually rebutcher it again. And that's not on purpose. Sometimes I just don't speak it well. Unfortunately. Speaking of which, we could also just invest into them too, to build them up a little. If nothing else, it just gets us more resources. Actually, maybe not in Yunnan at least. Because, they seem very interested in producing a lot of opium. And I respect that. I respect that. We are going to hit 1 billion GDP. It is after the 1900s, which I feel like is a little slow for me. But we have a bunch of arms industries around, so obviously we're not being optimal about this in the slightest. We should probably grow the military so we can make more of those, but that's not necessarily. What is Picardy doing? Oh yeah, I forgot. France is like in existence, but Picardy is the real superpower of France, or great power. The only superpower is us. Speaking of which, what does it take to lower your autonomy at this point? What is the cost? Because I know you're already getting a lot of 86. 86 infamy would not be worth dropping mechs. I mean, they make a lot of money. But I don't know if it would be worth the war. And the reason why we can't get their... Oh, there goes emergency vehicles. The reason why we can't get their autonomy down is because their fervor is one reason. But they were getting treaties to support their separatism, actually. Or their independence. It looks like those treaties are gone right now. So I wonder, maybe if we get more alliances as defense packs, we could actually break this down a little. Their fervor is keeping it up, though. Evangelize. I mean, yeah, the evangelizing could help a little. It's not going to do much, but we could probably do that. Knowledge sharing, that'll at least suppress it. And even support regime, which has changed their attitude to aloof. So maybe Mexico will finally stop trying to revolt every 5 minutes. Is a fair bit of supportive actions to be giving to them, including giving up 10 of our own legitimacy there. But if it makes them aloof, that might make them at least stop trying. Yeah, they're no longer supporting separatism in our borders, so they're stopping their disruptive behavior. We can probably get them to amicable relations now and not suffer for it. There we are, billionaire in 1906, which is not bad. Not my best run, but it's a fun run. And there's the compression ignition engine, which I really love this technology. It is going to be good for many production methods. We could make more cars. Do we have the rubber? Oh, yeah, we do. Mostly imported rubber, which is mainly being imported from Picardy and Britain, which is why I haven't tried to fight them at all, because we're importing resources we need from them. And then they're importing our guns to then take over other locations. What has access to electricity? I'll do the switch, but I don't know what has access to electricity. Speaking of which, we should just fund the power plants. Arizona, okay. Arizona has access to electricity. It's also the only place with electricity. We should probably research the steam turbine next and then start getting mass electricity everywhere. And then probably antibiotics is what I'm thinking. By then, elevators will be done. Maybe mass propaganda. We could upgrade the military more for our own defensive purposes, but we also have a lot of troops deployed already. Anyway, we are going to crash the raw material market now. See, this is what I mean, too, about how sometimes switching production methods in automation, the game lies to you. It's saying here that if we switch to the diesel pump, we'll actually make almost 5,000 less iron. This is a lie. This is not true. The game is lying to you. Just how it's saying how your goods consumption of tools is going to drop. Well, that's not true. We can see right here, it's still going to be 15 tools. It's lying. It's not telling the truth. And I don't know why it does that. With all that switch, what about, how is coal? Because we import like 15,000 coal. It dropped to -0. So we could switch to making more coal with oil. Oil prices are very low right now. Yeah, let's do it. That's going to crash the coal prices, but once we stop importing coal, it should go back up at least a little bit. And then another switch we want to do with this for almost certain is switching all the way to diesel engines. We could have gone to electric engines. I just didn't. This would actually crash the engine market. But I think we're importing some, right? We're not. We're actually exporting some. We are exporting some. This would crash the engine market, but I'm going to switch it anyway and temporarily fund it. That's a lot of debt. Because the oil rigs should start resupplying a lot, getting a lot more people back in. As you can see, our GDP did jump all the way to 1.1 billion. Give it a couple ticks, oil prices should come back down, and then funding all of these motor industries should be a bit easier. Not really, though, because they are running a massive deficit now. But it does mean that a lot of the dye plantations will have a better profit margin. Sorry, plantations in general, not just dye, although dye is a good example. It actually means then we can just start producing way more of these installations at once. without much worry. Because we have so much of it. Because that was an issue with the cotton plantations too, is that the engines were at over like 35% price, plus 35% from the base price, so they just couldn't get a good profitability at a certain point and stopped using people. We'll probably see our peasant population drop a lot here at this point. And from there, I think we're going to let the investment pool take over construction so our subsidies here don't nuke us. Still going to make us bleed for a while, but not a lot. Not enough to be a problem. It's going to eventually fix itself. Things like lead are actually below base price now. Coal's only at -12 by the end of it, which is good. That means automation got cheaper. And iron is still above base price, but not as much. You can see oil is still really above base price, but you can also see that it's not fully staffed. So it's not too surprising. In fact, I think for the oil rigs specifically, let's just switch them all to rail transportation to start more automation processes. Specifically, the automation process that uses transportation. I just have to be careful because as you can see, you can really easily hit the max on that very fast. Unless you've been building it up over time, which I haven't. We just gave it to a company and just told them to go nuts. So, you know, either it's going to be functional or it won't be. And we'll find out at a later point in time. Actually, what we could do, because engines are very cheap right now, is just switch... Where's logging camps? Just switch the logging camps over to the steam donkey. So, because that uses engines and coal. Barbed wire fences for livestock ranches. We can even use compression ignition tractors for the various farms we have, which will probably be profitable, but we should probably get more oil rigs functional first. Some of them are already staffing where Kansas doesn't have the railway it needs, so we're just going to build a bunch at once. But some of them haven't even been built yet. Like, California barely has any oil rigs going for it right now. Utah has a single oil rig. But at least it has an oil rig. What is this? Give me the one that's cheaper. Yeah, 1.2 billion. Our GDP is actually almost 1.3 billion, and you see the per capita jumped up by almost 2 points. All because we upgraded our production methods. The Philippines is having another revolt against itself. It's not difficult to deal with, they're having a lot of revolts against themselves. They really don't like themselves, I've noticed. Could kind of combine these later, just kind of annex them all in. Well, I don't need to do that, though. Hey, 8th. 8th in the ranking for Guangdong Clique. Mexico's hit 100 million, which might explain some of their activity still of keeping this high. But as you can see, it is because of that fervor as well. They did also get their army projection to be a certain size, which appears to be partially because our own armed forces started losing a bunch of their generals again. You know, age kind of gets to them, and then we start losing everyone. Yeah, enactment time reduction, I'll take it. There's no reason not to. What is our subsidies like now? Okay, yeah, the motor industries have mostly recovered. They've probably fired a bunch of people, but they're starting to get above, and the game crashed. Ah, well, that's a great start. We're like, what, 18 minutes in, and the game's already crashed? I love what Microsoft did with their updates. It's okay. This is why I have monthly autosaves active, to make sure that if the game ever suffers an issue, we lose like 6 days of progress at most or something. So it won't be hard to recover back to where we were, but it is slightly irritating that keeps happening. I don't know how to fix it beyond resetting the Windows update, because they said the Windows update in January, the security one's dropping frames per second by 15 to 20%, and that's probably compounding and causing issues for the game's performance in the long run. But when I went to go in to try and uninstall the update, it didn't have it in there. There was already a new update that had overridden it for February. I could probably try uninstalling that update, but I think it would just revert to the January update, and I think I'd still be stuck by the end of it. Which is not good. I mean, maybe I'd get lucky and it would let me through anyway. That's a lot of automotive. You know what? We're gonna switch one to mass production, because apparently we're making way too many automobiles already. Because it's 165. How many do we have total? Just in our country. 298, so that's just half of them right there, right away. Which was a good switch, because rubber went to 62% price almost immediately. Let's hide those so the game doesn't murder itself. Ah! So guns are no longer our biggest export. We started exporting way more engines, which is why this suddenly became profitable again. It's not because we started using a bunch of it, it's because we crashed the engine market. Austria is actually our second largest importer, which I guess makes sense given their economic size. Russia's over 1 million as well in GDP. Bengal, there's a nice chunk of them that are over 100 million, which for the AI is good. For the AI, for a player, not so much. But for the AI, they're doing okay. I kind of want to get more construction down because our investment pool can handle it. It's jumped all the way to 4 million now, which is a lot. We started this a year or two ago, gameplay-wise, and it was at 2.5, 2.4 million investment, something like that. Now it's already way higher. Oh, right. We were assigning new generals and the game crashed. I love our game. We could actually lower taxes. We could lower taxes. Or hear me out, we could keep taxing the people that give tax breaks to the arms industry in Connecticut. It's 107 of them now. And it's just going to keep getting people. It's going to take time for the adjustments, mind you. How many Han Pops do we have now? 1.26 million in the United States. Globally, there's over 400 million. Most of them in China. Kind of like EU5, yeah. With its own differences. There's another revolt in our Chinese protectorate. I say Chinese protectorate, we're taxing money out of them. They make us a bunch of money, and that's with reduced payments to them, which, by the way, Yunnan should probably get that next. And that reduced payment is partially to make sure they don't go bankrupt, and it's partially to ensure they don't try to revolt from us later, so it's kind of a two-pronged solution. Now, the question is, do we make Sichuan a subject, or do we make it... Do we annex it and give it to Yunnan? Because they're both Han, right? For their primary culture. Yeah, but you have the Yi culture as well as a primary. They should both be the same when it comes to technology, but you have the plantations. I think we annex them and hand it over. It'd be a lot cheaper infamy-wise to make them a subject, but I think we'll grow Yunnan instead. And so we're going to get ready for that war as well. Because we also have the Zili clique and Hunan here who are both protectorates, but they're very rebellious protectorates. Yeah, our budget's fine. We have nothing to worry about. Honestly, at the rate we're going, we could probably fund more trade centers. How is this one doing? 22k with almost 200k in subventions. It's negative in its trade revenue. It's because it's selling 13,000 guns to the open market. We're at 28k in export now. We've used up almost all of our trade capacity. Speaking of which, we could actually invest abroad into countries like Germany and Austria to improve their trade capacity. Which does kind of work as long as they actually have usage for that trade capacity. Is that... Why do you have so much capacity advantage? Because you need tools. Okay. Krakow went communist? Well, I just saw the flag there. They went Council Republic. Oh, okay, so they're quote-unquote communist. Like, the government is communist. The workers are in charge, but... private enterprise still runs the economy, so not really. No, remember, we did the religious power block, so we actually can impose our religion onto them. We can't impose our culture on them. But imposing our religion works. Actually, thank you for reminding me, because the Guangdong clique could get that imposed on them when we hadn't done it yet. Now that's done. We can actually invite countries. El Salvador, sure. Not that we have much use for it. Yunnan, we can impose it as well. I should have waited till we annexed Sichuan, actually, but... oh well. Damage is done. And the private sector is doing a lot of the constructions for us now. El Salvador actually denied it. Yep, it does exist to, the change language one. The change language one, to my understanding, I did check that. You can only do that if it is a colonial administration... if they're under colonial administration, which I don't think we can force them to enact. What is that? A power block thing? Actually, not power block. I actually don't know. What law is that? That's under governance principles. Oh, yeah, you can't even make them enact it. You would have to straight up create a colony, which... Unless you're colonizing over here. Wow, Portugal has a lot of territory. Portugal has all that territory. Britain, oh, because they're a British subject. Britain probably just gave it to them instead of making its own colony. That's why Portugal is actually doing all right this game. Okay, I see it. Now it makes sense. I'm not jealous of Portugal. We have our own things that we're good at. That's a lot of exports in New York. Not that New York can handle it for a long period of time. Arkansas will become a new trade capital instead. Oh? See, chat, if New Granada becomes a subject of Germany, we'll actually be able to invest into them without needing a treaty. Also, New Granada never really joined our power block. And keep in mind, we helped a German republic get born, and then used the obligation we got from them to form this treaty, the Treaty of Luxembourg. So we have trade privileges and investment rights in the country with them. I would rather stick with our investment into Germany because it's much bigger. Also, Mexico just joined. That's... I mean, if you're just enforcing investment rights, I really don't care. Oh, wow, it's actually going down finally. Nope. I would rather not come help. Sorry, but it's not in our book to come in and provide assistance. I'm gonna have to build power plants everywhere, aren't I? Please tell me they've built these elsewhere. They have, okay. We could just build like 5 power plants everywhere, I guess, which still takes time, admittedly. But we could at least do that to start getting a lot more logging camp upgrades going, which is going to help the economy a little. Not too much, but it'll help. Do we have Hawaii? We never got Hawaii, chat. Spain took Hawaii. Spanish Hawaii is a thing. I think it's just they invaded Hawaii at some point, and I never noticed because I didn't care. Yeah, no, it's I would rather like let New Granada kind of fall. Yeah, I can make them a protectorate, but our investment into Germany is a lot stronger because keep in mind, as they grow, as their economy grows, we can export and import more goods from it. Some of their biggest imports is actually American engines. Apparently, they're importing a lot of dye too, and we're apparently exporting a lot of lead to them. They export porcelain to us? They export thousands of porcelain to us, even though we're already making lots of porcelain. Because we're on Bone China, right? We are. Wow, Glassworks are just doing really good this game. I love it. What's even funnier is we could actually join Germany's side to make Venezuela a protectorate, but I don't want the infamy. We're focused on making China ours. They're actually switching to racial segregation. They still have closed borders, though. Shandong is still on fire. That's okay. We'll just enforce this. So we'll let Sichuan fall there, hopefully. What is our government like? Can we reform it? Not to anything useful. The trade unions are actually pretty upset with us. Oh, because they have a communist in power. That's funny. I was like, why are you upset with us? We did what you wanted not long ago. Well, yeah, but now they want something different. We could actually switch to migration controls here just to give them a freebie. And I'm only mentioning that because we have multiculturalism. Oh, wait. We have multiculturalism it actually still matters now, doesn't it? Because I think even with multiculturalism, there are certain pops that still get restricted. Like the Germans wouldn't. They're at plus 80, but I think the Han would be restricted still, right? Yeah, because they're at plus 40, so they would actually still be restricted. So it's actually not a freebie. It would stop the Han from migrating over here. Most of them are in New Jersey. They just seem to like New Jersey right now for whatever reason. It's fine. I don't have a problem with it. Russians migrating to Tennessee from Russia. How bad is it in Russia? It can't be any worse than over here. We have a communist party now. 214,000 Russians in one tick. And look at what Tennessee borders. It borders over half a dozen states. I was going to do migration controls, Vincent, but if we do that, the Han Pops in our subjects here will no longer be able to migrate over to us because they will only be at plus 40. And migration controls makes it to where you have to be at least plus 60 at a base level. So, the rise of communism in powerful countries like... The rise of communism? Oh. Oh, there's like a trade union in Germany of 41% powerful and they're led by an anarchist. That's funny. I mean, the Communist Party doesn't have a lot of votes right now. And we do want to keep Germany on our good side. So we'll do that to keep friendly relations so they'll never betray us. But they still have negative momentum. We're on well voting, right, chat? Oh. Well, apparently in the last couple of years, chat, our standard of living has jumped from about 20 points to 23.8. Oh, no, wait, that's right. The game initialization. We got a +2 from it. I forgot about that. The game initialization standard of living is still a thing. I actually forgot about that. Oh, yeah, Arkansas's Trade Center was built. Now I can't run everything. Won't someone think of the children? Well, someone's thinking of the children, all right? Unfortunately, we can't send them back to the mines. That's actually a good question. Can we get landed voting at all? No, there is, once again, it's that same issue as before. There is no support for it. No one is supporting this. And in fact, I think... Why do we have this twice? I think we mentioned this before, but I think we... Why do we have this twice? Is that doing it twice to us? Wait, that's a bug. Wait, that's a bug. That's not supposed to happen. So somehow, chat, we have the tradition of free elections amendment twice. So we're getting plus 20 legitimacy from it. And it's also causing a minus 20% enactment success chance for all the non-voting laws. Oh my, how did we break that? Also, the trade union has 2 sets of political concessions here. That would explain where some of their power comes from. Oh, did the election finish, by the way? No, it has not. Let's grant you a variety of states here. And hopefully you will... no, don't take. Grant. And hopefully you will actually incorporate most of these. Qinghai, I think, is not a Han homeland. It is not. So if they don't integrate that one, I won't be surprised. But well, if they have enough for this. Yeah, they had enough for Sichuan, so they started incorporating it. As you can see here, they'll have it in 22 months. And then it'll be better connected to everything. The plantations in Formosa, the Shanxi clique. Oh, the Shanxi clique annexed Beijing. Cool. Rule folk is fine. They're not really going to win the election. Why does the Communist Party have so many votes under wealth voting? What is the average standard of living for laborers in this country? 19.4. Okay, yep, nope. I see. Oh wait, no, but you're wealth 19, so you can't even vote. Yeah, you have to be at least a base wealth level of 20. You can't even vote yet. Although you're very close to being able to vote. The only way to remove those is you would need someone to oppose the amendment. The thing is, the only ones who actually oppose this is the rule of folk. So the rule of folk would have to get into power. Although if the trade union get into power, they would give us more workforce ratio, which would mean more demand for Colt Revolvers. Oh, wow. You know, I'm actually curious to what this, would do. 30% chance that Marsh gets injured. Well, she's fine. 35 momentum, they're still the 3rd largest party. That's funny. Almost 1.4 billion now. Mexico is going back to the whole supporting separatism thing. Man, they've just hated us all game. Just non-stop hating on us for no reason. All we did was invade their country and take it over. Right? What is this? Oh, at least one party's the Socialist Party of America. Oh, that's cool. I've actually not seen that option for that event before because of how rare it is. Look at that now. There's just the difference. They're literally neck and neck. The Democratic Party is winning over half the votes still. Where are we? Peasants are still above 4 million. Illegitimate government. So there's your new government. It's very legitimate. Very promising. See, we could do laissez-faire, but then I lose my monopolies, and I like my monopolies. The bourgeoisie are just constantly led... You want to know what it is? The reason why there's no support for restricting elections is because the liberal movement has been consistently strong here from start to finish. The reactionary movement itself has been too weak to pressure interest groups. That's why we're not really seeing anything else, which is really funny to me. The communist movement is actually fairly strong, too. Oh, they just got an agitator. That would explain it. Or they've had him. Who are you led by? Sure. Rather, I was looking at which interest group he was a part of. Wasn't even checking who he led. You're old, so I need someone else to kind of take over. Ah, there we go. Evangelicals. That way they'll stay powerful. Iron is expensive, which we love to see, because iron makes the blood flow. In the game, at least. We're actually running out of iron production spots domestically. We're going to have to increasingly think about more foreign production, or overseas production, I should say. The Philippines has been having revolt issues thanks to all of its unemployment, so building up a lot of iron mines would actually work pretty well there. And we have, I was going to say, we have investment rates in these countries, I think, which is why I can build them up. We could even just go as far as to just mass invest into Germany and just build up all their iron mines and then import said iron. That is an option we have. I'm not even building arms industries. We haven't even been building them at all. It's just been the investment pool has been building them up non-stop because of how profitable it is for it, really. Not necessarily the best investment decision, but the game's just like, I make money off this, so I'm going to keep building it and you can't stop me. Not that I'm going to stop it to begin with. See, we could make luxury clothes, or I can continue to import it and just invest in other things for no apparent reason. Spanish migration to Connecticut. They want our guns. They're coming for the guns. Actually, speaking of migrations, how many Russians do we have now? 12 million. We have 12 million Russians, chat, and over a third of them are in Tennessee. Just Tennessee. In fact, the mass migration isn't even over yet. When does this end? In June, so next month. So that's 12.6. 12.6 million Russians are living in the country. Although it looks like Russia recently annexed something. It's only going back to 1882. Weird. Oh, I see. They've taken some land in China, so that's where their population has grown a lot suddenly. How many Russians are there total globally? Globally there's 72 million Russians and 12.6 live in the US right now. And now we're getting a Bengali mass migration to Oregon, so we're just getting all the pops basically. We'll see how much of that grows. There's 42 million globally for Germans and 11.6 million are in the US. Our population's actually at 192 million. It has been growing. It temporarily peaked when we took all that territory in China, but obviously we handed that over. We weren't going to hold on to it. There's no need for us to hold on to it. I think, Chad, I think it's time to cut taxes. I think we cut taxes, and we just let the investment pool's over 5 million now. My God. Anyway, I was going to say, we just cut taxes and we just give the private investment pool more construction. Because if we run out of pops to work with domestically, it's just going to start investing into, like, Germany and Austria. So I don't have to worry about us running out of pops. But given the mass migrations we're getting right now, we're going to get pops regardless. And this will greatly increase things like our glass and steel demand, tool demand. So that's just going to raise our GDP more. Is it going to help the average person? I don't know. I just build things. I probably should know that, but yeah, it'll be fine. Actually, public trams is something we could switch to. Because of all the engine exports we're doing. Yeah, let's do that. That'll help a lot of areas out. Some of the urban centers might actually suffer, but places like New York, it'll actually be great for them because now they're employing less pops. Actually means less, whatchamacallit. We could get more bureaucracy for more construction efficiency. That might be next. Actually, you know what we could do? There's 20 steel mills in the District of Columbia. Who's building these? Why is there steel in Columbia? Why is there 500,000 pops in Columbia? Anyway, we're just going to build 90 government administration in Washington, D.C. Because we have the White House bonus here, we might as well. Ooh, sea lane strategies. Neat. That might actually attract a lot of pops to migrate here. Well, attract a lot as if they even could get here. There's not a lot of railway. Oh, railway! I totally forgot. I knew I was forgetting something. I forgot to switch our railways over to the diesel engines. Which is going to probably crash transportation costs. But that's actually something we want because then we can start switching more areas over to it and then just build more of those. In fact, we might just mass... I might just mass switch the mines over to that now. You are going to see transportation shortages because of this. But we have... Standard Oil is literally owns the railways and can just build more of them. So they'll just solve it for ourselves. So yeah, that's what we did. We could switch transportation infrastructure, but remember, we're on external trade for that trade capacity. That's what we decided last week. Because we're exporting all of the Colt Revolvers. We're actually at almost 30k for those now, by the way. And it's working really well. Opium addiction. See, if we switch to religious schools, that would make the evangelicals stronger, but then our simulation speed would drop further. We already switched to multiculturalism, you know. And we're getting I'm going to say no because we're trying to at least maintain some assimilation. Wow, Russian is the third largest here. Jeez. I wonder if any obsessions developed. I don't think any obsessions developed. That's a lot of German pops too, wow. I am seeing the obsessions listed there, but a lot of those obsessions are at the start of the game now. Because that's how they set it up. Oh, everything shifted. The Han are not obsessed with anything, though, which is kind of an achievement for them. Although that was because our protectorates just enacted a ban. And now we're getting Persian mass migration from Persia. No, I don't want to sacrifice food standardization because food standardization quite literally gives us minus 10% mortality. Which means we're getting more pops. Which is good because our standard of living has been getting higher, so any reduction to mortality is squeezing out a lot more pops than we otherwise would get. We get antibiotics in 10 months, too. There we go, the investment pool's finally bleeding out. By bleeding out, I mean it's actually spending its money. How's Washington doing? It is already getting more pops. I'm sorry, chat. Everyone wants to come to the United States right now. It just doesn't stop. Who is even in this? Yeah, I'm gonna say no, which is gonna hurt our bureaucracy, but they'll get over it. Oh, there's a revolution in France. How adorable. Oh, Spain invaded. Why? No, not charity hospitals either, because remember, charity hospitals are literally just a weaker version of public health insurance, because at the same level, this is minus 12 mortality and minus 40 pollution health effect. Public health insurance at the same level is minus 20 mortality and minus 60 pollution health effect. Like, it's just... There's a lot of public versions. We could get off public schools, but it means less Yankees, and Yankees are the ones that are obsessed with small arms. And coffee, unrelatedly. God, Tennessee has so many pops now. Tennessee is triggering so many migration pops. I love it, but I don't understand why it's Tennessee out of all the other states. Is there a company here? The American Food HQ is here, so I guess that might be inflating the... No, it's the average of the whole country. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. People just want to come over here and work in the food industry, I guess. Speaking of which, we really should get the automated bakery. This is the only place where you make liquor, too. Right, I understand it more so where it comes from as a tea thing, but I've drank coffee now and then, too. So I can understand the obsession. Okay, what is the biggest price impact aside from groceries? Clothing is at plus 20%. Wait, is clothing really that expensive? Oh, I guess it is. Huh. I mean, I guess we aren't really using the electric sewing machines as much as we could. Maybe that's what we do next, after I make sure we've switched over almost every logging camp. I said almost every logging camp. That didn't mean every single one was going to get it. Oh, shoot, does Alaska even have railways? It does. It has some railways. It has plenty of gold mines, too. So many revolts are happening globally now. Oh, is Chile a subject or something? Or did they just break it just because? They broke it just because. Okay. If that's how they want to do it. What are you at now? 24 million? Yeah, 24 with only 29 million GDP. They're not really that advanced, but they are making opium. Which is good for them, I guess. Not so great for... I guess it's not so great for us, but honestly, I really don't care if they invest into it. If they want to invest into it, they can. You know, it's just kind of whatever to me. Let's not build too many government admins there. Did I never switch? Don't tell me I didn't do that. Oh my god. I never switched to standardized filing system for the entire game? Oh my god, are we serious? Well, that explains why our bureaucracy always seemed to have a problem the whole game. That is going to make us bleed money, but oh well. I can always raise taxes back up if I have to. I think they did. Yeah, kind of. It looks like they had a civil war that the landowners managed to win, but they don't really have any power despite that, so they're probably going to bleed out later. Anyway, we've created new demand for paper because apparently I never switched us over to standardized filing cabinets. I almost never forget to do that, and this one time I did actually forget to do that. So that's a little awkward. I also don't understand why our porcelain demand is so high. I know we make... Well, we don't make luxury clothes, but I know we make luxury furniture. I suppose we could switch to precision tools for luxury furniture then, because... apparently, we just don't have enough luxuries. Although, that would increase... you know what? It's fine. Just go ahead and switch it. It might be because we haven't invested into consumer goods that much. Which I honestly don't mind too much. Support the Brazilian workers, sure, just because they've been causing us problems. And then... oh wow, there's only 2 of those. Tibetan expedition. Who even owns Tibet right now? Technically no one. So technically we could do that expedition. Oh, we have the opium trade now. Cool. Any American building. And any American building? But that would have to be in America, right? Which I don't have it domestically. Oh, it's because we temporarily had right. Yep, that explains why I was like, how did we trigger this? That doesn't make any sense. It does now. You know what? You're a mountain expert, Hugh, and it's in the mountains, so, like, you know, it's just made in heaven for you. Go get them. So how much power issues do we have? Only in Ohio, really? I just switched all of our... oh yeah, you're gonna need at least 10. I just switched all of our textile buildings over, and I guess Ohio had the bulk of them. 56, yeah. Just switched them all over to electric sewing machines to bring the price of clothes down by about 15% from base price. Almost no power issues. Some areas have expensive power now, yes, but no actual power issues, which is a little surprising to me in a good way. We've got antibiotic now. Could go for oil turbines. I would like the electric arc process, though. Or, see, conveyor belts would be good. Automatic bottling would be good, even though we're technically getting more pops for migration. Because that's going to get rid of a lot of laborers, and laborers support the trade union. And some of us here do not appear to like the trade union that much. But also, the productivity with the automatic bottle blowers is just really good. Plus, there'll be a higher standard of living average. So, electric arc process into automatic bottle blowers, perhaps. Because the rest of these paved roads would be good. But we don't need the rest of it. Like, we could get it, but we don't need it. It's not a priority. Regime support just because it's funny. We can only do that for our subjects, and Chile is not a subject of ours. Speaking of which, actually, since the electric arc process is spreading to us, we'll actually just do the automatic bottle blowers. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, wait, tobaccos have a production method I forgot about. Yeah, the lectors. I forgot about the lectors. We could actually we could have been squeezing out more tobacco this whole time. I totally forgot about the lectors. It's something I hadn't really thought about. Since he is in charge, if he dies, the expedition will end in failure. Thanks, game. Good to know. Now I really hope he fails. Companies losing productivity. Well, maybe if you stop doing unpopular things, you'd be fine. But for whatever reason, we just keep doing unpopular things, and then we wonder why it's not fine. We've maxed out the iron mines domestically at this point. I literally need foreign iron. I need foreign ore. And so you know what, chat? We are going to start investing into Germany. The Germans who we helped establish a democratic government are now going to get heavy American investments because we need iron. And guess who has lots of unexploited iron ore? So far, others might have some unexploited iron ore too. Actually, yeah, the Austrians do. And technically the French? The Picardian French, at least. The Great Mountain Survey, so... He could die. He died! Just immediate death. Guy didn't last a week. Or, I guess a month, really. Oh, and I think the expedition is just gone, or is it? No, we have a cooldown. For how long? Tibetan fiasco? 5 years. Okay. That's not bad. We were just doing it for fun anyway. Right? Sometimes it's because the guy's unpopular. In this case, it's not really. It was probably just something dropped for a little bit and then it came back. Rockefeller is loved, apparently, because he's an ambitious firebrand who's persistent. Oh god, the automotive industries here can't even just keep up with its own demand for pops. I need assembly lines at some point, because there's a lot of demand. Because I know we're already automating. Oh my god, the sulfur mine's having issues hiring people. What is going on over here? Honestly, switch this to rail logging cabins, because the demand for pops over here is really high. Probably because someone built 185 automotive industries in Minnesota. Because they could. 32,000 guns are being exported now. We actually have a lot of trade capacity. So we'll be able to import a lot of goods later. And then... See, I'm trying to figure out our glass situation, because we're apparently using so much glass now. Probably because of the extra construction. That we're at... I'm sorry, how much predicted productivity in North Carolina? That was a lot of... Is it? Oh, it's because that's not maxed out yet. Yeah. So I guess just build that up a little, because apparently North Carolina needs a lot of... Not steel. It needs steel too, obviously, but it needs a lot of glass. Missouri, build it up to level 50. It's got so many peasants, we don't know what to do with them because people keep migrating here. Which I can't stress enough how I love, because it's jumping our population up really fast. Despite our population growth falling. And Russia's got, well, I was going to say great population growth, but they don't even have a healthcare system, so they're not really doing that great in the end. Can you maybe do migration controls now? Oh, the Shandong clique got migration controls. Fantastic. And they're actually trying to restrict child labor. Whether they'll succeed is a story on its own. It's not too many pops per week that we're getting, but we are getting pops from China, which we can use. Also, they're never going to have enough GDP at this point to be given investment rights. That's just not going to happen. Our economy is growing and outpacing them too fast. You have fun with dinner, Vincent. I will still be here for probably at least 2 hours unless the game continually crashes, but so far it's only happened once. Do see the guns are struggling again, but I assume that's because we have that steel monopoly that's going on. We might help the electric arc process finish after automatic bottle blowers. I'm just trying to take advantage of the tech spread whenever we get it, because we're usually ahead technologically and can't benefit from it, but I think we're starting to benefit from it. What is Spain doing now? Oh, I mean, they wouldn't support us conquering any states, so perhaps not. Subsidies from motor industries is still particularly high. It's gotten better, but it's still not good. Well, some of these areas can't even use that electricity very well. Distribute domestically. Can we upgrade to tanker cars? We probably could at this point. Because I'm not seeing any issues with transportation cost right now. At least it's not at a point where we have rubber. Oh, American Panama, right? Duh. I might have forgotten about that. Could probably switch all the oil rigs to tanker cars, and honestly, they don't need funding anymore. We don't need to give them any. Yeah, wow, yeah, no issues with railroads, just by switching them over there. So California can probably squeeze out more production now. It just self-assigned 10 more. Standard Oil is paying an average annual wage of 40, even though it's just opulency here. Oh my god, the oil rigs. They own 155 ports in Mississippi, which is not making the money, I'd like to stress. They're just doing it for fun, I suppose. What is the biggest dividend earner for them? Texas. Yeah, Texas, because of oil. Yeah, that makes sense. That's not surprising in the slightest. Let's see, aside from iron and coal, it's iron, coal, and steel. Okay, well, what about pop needs aside from the peasants? Clothes are still up there, then it's coffee, and then it's porcelain at 37% base price, which we're trying to solve right now by building a lot. That's a lot of additional glassworks that I didn't assign. All right, well, we'll see what happens. Germany, yeah, Germany has seen a bit of a growth spurt in its industries. I don't think all of its coal mines are getting assigned because it's not sufficiently able to... I don't think Germany has sufficient export potential. Yeah, I don't think Germany's able to export sufficiently. So let's just get a bunch of these built up for them as well. Because I'm noticing that they're not really exporting iron despite the iron existing. Now, it could be... Yeah, no, their trade capacity is up. I was going to say maybe they aren't... maybe they aren't using the trade capacity all the way, and I'm just throwing myself under the bus. But it looks like they are actually using their trade capacity. And that they just genuinely need more. We probably want to build more than 10 each, but I'm trying to not crash it too much to where it all collapses. Oh, you forgot to boil water in advance. Oh, no. Whatever will you do now? Oh, the Russian company has a presence here as well. Neat. Dang, that's a lot of negative trade. Oh, are they still on mercantilism? They are still on mercantilism. Interesting. They are exporting iron, at least. I don't think they're exporting enough iron, but they are exporting it. How many... Who is buying all these engines? There's no way that many engines is being bought on the global market. I stand corrected. They are actually buying up so many that the price of engines on the world market is base price. Britain is buying 22,000. Which I can believe, but I'm also a little surprised. What are their motor industries? Oh. Hey, Chad, it seems like we killed the motor industry in Britain. Just, probably don't go there. We didn't even mean to do that on purpose. It happened by complete accident. I'd like to note. That was a complete accident. And it just happened. God, they only want census suffrage. They only want census suffrage. We still have plenty of lead to make too, but we're importing... Or actually importing none of it. We're exporting it. I forgot. So we could easily make more of it if we needed to. Oh, Rockefeller died. I just saw that. So now it's some random person in charge of Standard Oil. That's not as fun. Let's go find a necromancer, chat. We'll bring Rockefeller back from the grave. He'll know what to do. He'll solve everything. And if he doesn't solve anything, we'll put him back. If he doesn't solve everything, we'll put him back in the grave. And we'll pretend we never found him. So we got our bottle blowers for the glassworks going. How are we on oil production? I know there's a few states. Yeah, Florida could build a bunch. Can build a bunch here. Utah can get maxed out. We may as well just max out all of the oil rigs at this point in the US, so they're just already built up. So obviously the glassworks is now going to starve for workers because the peasants might not have the qualifications. But also everyone's just competing. Let's temporarily give it money just so it actually has money, because then it'll hire a lot of people and hopefully it'll just stay stable. Yeah, the Ford company pretty much massacred it, because there we go. It's starting to recruit a lot of pops, including peasants. I don't think the peasants are happy with their life, right? Yeah, no, you're just... Are you struggling with qualifications? You did come from Russia. And I'm only mentioning that because... Oh, the literacy is actually pretty high now. I guess they've been here for a while. Yes. Yes. Okay, there you go. Wow, I mean, minus 37 momentum. They're still at 11% of projected votes in a wealth-based voting system. Switching to electric process is going to be consuming for the electricity industry. That's actually a little scary. There we go. The price of glass is starting to come down. We'll probably see less importation of glass now. You're a moderate. Who are they led by right now? A Republican? I just support them, I guess. Joseph Kilpatrick, jingoist, supporting of the liberal movement, etc., etc. No, the power block statue we have doesn't give us migration traction. It just gives us conversion speed, which we don't really need. And I also don't want to go spamming the noise of that in every single state we own. It's generally not an enjoyable experience for the average viewer. What I will do, though, maybe, is switch us over to machined tools. Is there enough rubber to import, though? I mean, Britain has a monopoly on the rubber industry, so maybe? It doesn't look like they have enough. They're actually using a lot of it themselves, but they have a lot of it that's not employed. They're actually using exploitative practices to get more rubber. You know what? I'm going to do the switch anyway, even though it's going to hurt the tooling workshops, and we'll just hope that Britain starts exporting more of its rubber to us because of the price, and we'll just take the rubber and use it for ourselves. Oh, the construction pool's not emptying anymore. More pops in the south. The clergy already have a lot of jobs. I mean, the clergy already make up 2.65% of the population. Keep in mind, all the clergymen have ownership rights in our various buildings. How many Spanish are in Connecticut? 1.2 million. Connecticut has almost 6 million pops now. This is getting a little ridiculous. Steel prices are up to 46%. What did you guys do? I wasn't paying attention. Good God. Okay, well, I need to build... How many here? Like 30 more there. And then this is like 108, 200 of the steel mills. This is 64 steel mills. I need to build so much power production. I may as well just not get to arc welding, although that would be good. I might as well just go for the oil turbine at this point because we're going to need the power. If not for the fact we have plenty of coal to burn anyway. Then what was it? Missouri's already... No, it's not built up yet. I just build you up to 50, I guess. We'll have to build those up and then do the switch. So you're about to see us bleed a lot of money here. We could. My issue with building the power block statue is that every single time you put it down, it spams the noise for it. And it's a little louder and more obnoxious than the other construction noises. So it's more about just quality than anything else in avoidance. There's a Polish uprising. How adorable. So you're saying I need to switch the widget, but you're not telling me how to switch the widget. Thank you very much, YouTube. Anyway, we'll just ignore that for now. It's something I'm going to have to fix in the future. If I can find a fix for it. Might not ever find one. Oh, wow. Those are all done already? Honestly, I didn't expect it to be done as fast as it was. I thought that was going to take a little longer. How long do these take? What do they cost? Oh, 400. Not as much as I thought. Yeah, no, okay. I guess it's cheaper than I expected. So we don't have enough rubber still, but we are importing a lot more rubber now. There's a lot more on the global market, which is, you know, it's good. It's good. We might be able to finally bring steel prices down a bit here. Can this even get enough power? No, it's not. It's going to need at least another 25. I think you're going to have to be a level 100, aren't you? Unless we start using oil. Yeah, 6.95. Yeah, there's no way for it to make enough. Another Mexican War of Independence. The second their attitude worsened. And Britain joined them? Oh, right, because Britain probably had the treaty, didn't it? That's annoying. See, I could make them transfer. Canada's only 55 points to transfer. I mean, I don't want the war with Britain, but... Oh, they rivaled us? Oh, okay. Gotta cook dinner for real this time. Have fun. See, if we get too much infamy, I might lose our investment into Germany, which I don't want to lose. If we try to take Canada, that's a two-front war. But Canada is in the top 10 GDP-wise. Plus, I think it has oil up here. Yeah. As well as more coal. And it has level 100 logging camp. That's so much wood. Yeah, you know what? I think we take Canada. I think that's what we'll do is we'll take Canada from them, chat. We'll switch over production methods a little as well. So that does put us at 55 infamy, which, yeah, Venezuela doesn't like that, but Picardy is okay with it. I think Germany's fine with it because they just don't like Britain, so that's really not a surprise. They won't join, but they won't join anyone. Picardy would actually join if we gave them the Philippines, so that's not happening. So our goal here is just to take Canada, because Britain is supporting this. It's kind of the same thing we did with the Spanish. We take their empire piece by piece. Rubber production is not really something we can solve that well. There's a few areas we can build in that, you know, it would help. But for the most part, there's not really much we can do. It's kind of up to developments in Africa. There's Liberia that we can invest into, but it already has 8 levels. So we might have to let the tool workshops just kind of suffer here in the background. I can't afford to fund them all. So there's going to be kind of a localized collapse in that sector of the economy. But if the tool workshops downsize, they'll eventually be more efficient. And it'll just kind of balance and work itself out. Is what I hope. Oh my god, there's over 500,000 peasants here. How are you unable to keep them hired? Do you just not have qualifications? No, you do. You've got plenty of engineers. I don't know what you're doing then. I might have forgotten to have the military navy ready to go. But not to worry. All you have to do is just assign some random bloke, and he'll get the job done. Don't know how he does it. He just does. Actually, let's just blockade Mexico here. Since they're so insistent on revolting against us, we'll just blockade them so they can't have an economy until they give up. Iron, coal, and steel are still the most prices. We probably should switch the other steel mills over. Some of them are kind of up there in their cost, though. Do you even have power? You do. How is the power plant over here doing at 35? Yeah, that's fine. And that's how many levels is 50, 70? 79. 79, but at half employment. Oh, I just switched you over as well, didn't I? The Pennsylvania. I switched Pennsylvania over without building up power there. Oops. Someone's not paying attention. Probably should have taken the Columbia district as well, but I was trying to be a little cautious and not lose all of the treaties that we have. Thankfully, a lot of them don't like the British, so they're not too discontent about this. It is going to make it harder to import from the British, and the British are probably having a more difficult time importing guns. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if they're still just using Colt Revolvers. Yeah, they're just importing Colt Revolvers. I'd have to embargo. Well, we're already under an embargo because of the war. But the good news is that our army's just better by the end of it all. We're fighting a two-front war and winning, although we also did invest a lot into the military. So it should come as no surprise that we are ready to go. And Germany broke the treaty. Yeah, I thought that might happen. Italy suffered a coup. Yeah, that was my worry, is that by being over 50 infamy, they would flip and become antagonistic due to it. Oh, yeah, they broke the treaty, and we lost a lot of relations, because they violated its standing period. Who are you led by right now? A Republican? And he's now led by a Republican. Cool. Well, at least we got all of the iron mines and some of those trade centers built so we could get more iron imports from Germany before it broke. So we can still make use of it. Where is the capital of Canada in this circumstance? Okay, there it is. Because I didn't know which of the colonial subjects had actually unified Canada this time. They blockading us? Alaska World Market Hub is blockaded. Only the okay. It's not too bad. Well, Alaska's fully occupied, so it doesn't really matter that much. Oh wow, steel prices are somehow even worse? We already import steel and it's not enough. Alright, let's just switch the rest of them over. We'll just figure out... Oh, the District of Columbia. I was trying to figure out what else might need power. That would do it. Let's escort convoys there. While we still raid Mexico down here. Actually, we have the Panama Canal. You could easily come around. So that won't take too long. I see they're building a lot of railways right now in places like Texas and Connecticut, which tells me these areas... Well, I thought they needed it. They probably did need it because of the cost increase. They probably don't need it as much now. 128 arms industries. Will this just not stop growing? I suppose pop consumption for it has been growing. So, of course, it's not going to stop growing. And we just made steel cheaper, so why would it stop? Plus, the tooling workshops are now only partially employed because of rubber prices. So you put all that together and it kind of just makes sense. It's not too surprising anymore after that. What about the rest of the automobile industries? Yeah, no, there's just not enough rubber for us right now. And our trade capacity is maxing out again, which I think is a good sign. Even though it could be a problem down the line. How are you having issues hiring? I'm going to start switching over everything to rail transportation at this rate. And then no one gets a job. Subsidies, motor industries. Motor industries? Oh, they're running a deficit. Really? I suppose it's because steel prices just keep rising. I was going to say, there's no way I've maxed out all the coal in the US. I know I hadn't done that. Say, I know there's still coal to max out. Especially in North Dakota and Montana, because they weren't maxed out. Washington. Although in saying that, we are actually maxing out coal in a lot of places. Well, honestly, just max out the coal in Kentucky, even though we don't have the pops. They'll eventually come over. And we failed its legislation again. It's going to put us in a lot of debt, but after this war ends, we should be fine. How is the casualty ratio looking? It's very much in our favor. We're spending a lot more on the war than our enemies are, though. But the war is very much in our favor. As long as you don't count the fact that China is starting to get naval invaded by the British again, but that's okay. Someone has to make the noble sacrifice, and it won't be us. Could be us, but it won't be us. Well, some of you aren't using rail transportation, so we'll just switch that real quick so you can move around faster. Anything to deal with the enemy quicker. Assembly lines are ready to go, which is a lot of upgrading we'll have to do. Maybe we do get modern financial instruments just to squeeze out a little more minting. It's only 20k minting, though. Dough rollers is easy for the food industries. That would actually really help Tennessee, especially. It says it wouldn't, but it's also because it's predicting the goods consumption of a lot of different goods would spike, even though that's not true, because that's not how that would work. Oil-fired power plant. That's 30 more energy. We could do that, but where are we on our oil consumption? We're already above base price. And that's not from exports. We're actually importing oil. So we'll just not do the oil turbine then, because evidently we can't afford to do that. What we could do is get wargaming and maybe war propaganda. Or go into telephone to radios. Radio production actually would be nice for the tobacco industry. Or at least get electric industries so we can make telephones. Rubber, again, is the issue, and Britain is kind of being really hostile to us. So we're kind of in our own hole that we have to just dig ourselves out of. We'll grab wargaming, because that at least lets us upgrade the training method for the barracks, so more of the soldiers will become officers. What is Austria doing? Austria is declaring war on Germany. And the crazy thing is that Austria could win if it's just between them and Germany. That's actually the crazy thing. And what are they doing it for exactly? Württemberg, they're going to take Dahomey, then they're going to try to liberate territory. Germany's trying to take territory. Okay. It's the Second Brothers War. Declare a rivalry with Germany. Aren't you already at -10? You're at -9. Practically the same thing at this point, really, if you think about it. Practically speaking. Would giving you citrus orchards help at all? Kind of, not really. Han mass migration. Okay. Oh, that's the wrong map mode. Oh god, there's so many mass migrations to pierce through. Swedish people. How terrifying. ZOZ Bay Han people. I was trying to figure out if that was one of our subjects or not. It's one of the Russian subjects, actually. In China. Yes, I know, a Russian subject in China. How terrifying. Oh, you know what? We haven't really touched with the Russians on investments in a very long time. They absolutely hate the idea unless they get equal rights. Oh, that's fair. What if I gave you an alliance in exchange for investment rights? Maybe? Because Russia does hate Britain. Very much hates Britain. Very much doesn't care about Germany. Well, I mean, Germany went antagonistic towards us, so I really don't care about Germany anymore. 22 million peasants. We could really invest into Russia. It would be advantageous. And we could use the alliance. We could give them military assistance, too, just so they don't fall on their heads. Then again, we don't want them to be stronger than us. So maybe we do that. Could I get a Russian? I'm not a Russian. Could I get a monopoly? I assume not, because generally speaking, the AI is extremely reluctant to give you monopolies. The only case I've seen where they're not that reluctant is a circumstance where it's like they just haven't built it at all, so they don't care about it. But that doesn't inherently mean they would say yes. Just give them a small bribe while we're at it. Actually, oh wow. It says it would only be a plus 50 acceptance, but giving them the alliance shifts their diplomatic stance massively. What is it like initially then? Renegotiating treaty being worse for them. I see. They view it as worse. That makes sense. There we go. The Missouri pipeline. We will say yes to this because that is 20% more output from the oil rig for the rest of the game. It used to be that option didn't give it to you. You just got some infrastructure, which was not worth the indefinite cost. They have since changed that, which is very nice. Canada is also now a American colony. Oh yeah, they're under colonial administration. Wait, they're under colonial administration, chat, which is a monarchy. It's a monarchy subtype. Interesting. Change the language of administration. Oh, they already have the Anglo-Canadian trait, so I can't even do that. That's unfortunate, even if it's funny. Yeah, they're rebellious, cold relations. They'll get over it eventually. Eventually, they'll get over it. We're still running a deficit, though, thanks to our subventions. Oh, the munitions plants. Those probably expanded a lot, huh? And now they're not making any money. Yeah, I mean, they'll export. They'll get over it. If it's still bad, I'll just drop. I might drop the motor industries, actually, because they're... Yeah, we're going to stop supporting the motor industries, chat, because the private investment pool is now just building them up, even though they're not making a profit, because we're covering the cost. So we're going to have to switch that and let it crash so they don't crash the budget system. Munition plants, everything else we kind of need. Small arms we're doing the subventions for self-explained reasons. We could raise taxes back to normal, but I'm just not going to. We also got the healthcare system to level 5, so average standard of living jumped up to 25, even though that's just being afflicted. Why do we have a lot of... Oh, that's 25,000 radicals, not 25 million. I horribly misread that. That was some really bad misreading on my part. Wow. I was sitting here thinking we had 25 million radicals from nowhere. I was very confused on where they came from. We're also building a lot of dye plantations suddenly in Virginia, with 149 arms industry down there, which is actually struggling to hire right now. Speaking of arms industries, they do benefit from assembly lines, so that is something we must now consider. Even though we have 5 million peasants and 500,000 unemployed pops. I think it's because a lot of our construction, not a lot of it is global or overseas, but there is some of it. Are they building more munitions plants despite running a debt? Well, they were probably doing it while we were at war, and that was a surplus at the time. I actually don't think I should fund those anymore. It's not too bad. We're at 2 billion GDP as well now. And we're actually the highest GDP per capita, which is a nice bonus. So, oh, Germany fully ate the Netherlands. I didn't notice they'd fully eaten them. So, Italy has joined on the side of Austria against Germany. I wonder who's going to win that. The good news is that they'll definitely need to buy weapons, right? Right? They'll buy our weapons? Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Who's to say? Importing almost 20,000 fish. Did we even max out the fishing development domestically? Not necessarily, but it's clear some states were maxed out. So there was significant efforts of investment. At the very least. I think the farms at this point, we're just going to mass automate them because they're struggling to fully hire, which I think is basically pops don't want to work there because they don't want to work as a laborer. They'll work as a farmer with the pay they get, but they don't want to work as a laborer, which is the issue we're seeing with the farms now. So what we're going to do is conduct mass automation there. That way it's just farmer positions and then build them up. And that should actually hire a lot of pops. Hopefully. Even though we're still in debt. You can always raise taxes if it becomes an emergency. But I don't think it'll be an emergency. What is Russia doing to poor... Transfer the Ottoman Empire. Who's the Ottoman Empire subject of? Britain. Oh, wow. The Ottoman... This is horrible border gore. I hate it. Thanks. Spain actually lost a rebellion to Occitania and the French Republic area. Cool. And I'm sure our private investment wants to just buy up everything in Russia now. As the periodic seasonal flooding continues. Yeah, the Colt patent firearms really dropped in its productivity. It was almost at 40, now it's below 20. Which I assume is because of all the munition plants. Since the arms industry seems fine. Seems fine and is fine are two different words, though. Ooh, 35 logging camps that haven't been built up. Don't mind if I do. Why are there 100 power plants here? Because there's a level 288 steel mill here. Which is struggling to hire the peasants. I can't tell if I need more automation or less at this point. That's the problem with giving steel mills over to the companies. I've noticed is that they will not stop building these things. They love to build steel mills. And they will continue to build it indefinitely if you give them the permission. I'm sorry, the what uprising and where exactly? Oh. Maybe if I looked a little more south instead of north, I'd find it. Hey, we're barely profitable now, which is funny. Our interest rate suddenly dropped. Ah, the bourgeoisie treasury bonds. I was wondering why we suddenly owed 150,000, well, actually 200,000 less each week. And Canada's actually making the most money as a colony. That's great. Are they Protestant? They are. Of course, they're Protestant. I don't know why I had to ask that question. Oh, proportional taxation would be nice. You have no healthcare system. Why is that, Canada? Get a healthcare system now. Yeah, no, we'll just go for the yields thing. I know it's gonna buff the farms temporarily. That's fine. Let them be buffed. Let them hire people. No. Sugar beet production would be better. Just because fruit is so extremely cheap at this point that sugar beet is arguably more profitable. Actually, you would have more profitability citrus orchards, which is probably because I switched one from sugar beet to begin with. I'm guessing. I don't know. Like I said, the game sometimes lies to you when it's telling you this stuff. So I don't know. No. Landed taxation would not really help Canada give us more money. Canada's actually giving us the most money to begin with anyway. The arms industry in Virginia is actually starting to struggle because of new buildings that were built. But that's just because it's not paying them a lot of money. What is our most usage for steel at this point? Tooling, workshops, motor industries, then construction. So, none of that is surprising, by the way. I'm not really surprised by any of that as it pertains to demand. Are you at least using coal? You are. But evidently you need to be built up a little more. I don't think I can give any of the companies in an industry right on electricity, can I? No. Be really good if I did, though, or could. Because then we could pump out way more there. We are now exporting 40,000 small arms, though, chat. And the biggest buyer of said arms goods. We're also the biggest importer in the world. Wow. Only about 22,000 of them are bought, but half of that is bought by Britain, then Russia, then well, Germany and Austria are at war with each other right now, so their purchases aren't really that surprising. And then Russia has a lot of people, so it's just kind of not surprising. They have a lot of peasants, actually. It's about the Colt company making a profit. Yeah, the issue is the Colt company has been starting to kind of excessively invest in no, they have not been. What have they been investing in that's struggling then? Oh, the trade centers are just having a problem because I see small arms profitability is getting really bad. Right. Well, if we were to invest abroad, technically it says Russia couldn't. They couldn't. Well, what are they importing in Tula then? Almost nothing. They can't hold a profit. Well, that seems like a Russia problem to me. I don't know about you guys, but it just seems like a problem for them. Clothes are still expensive. Coffee's still expensive. Porcelain is still expensive, but it's not as expensive now. It has come down. It took a lot of construction, but we did get it to come down. Wargaming's unlocked. Who's got the most peasants? Missouri. Missouri has 800,000 peasants? Where are they all coming from? I have an idea as to where, but it's just there's a lot of people here. Oh, the steel mill is not having a good time. Iron prices in Missouri are really high right now because of an ongoing flood. Yeah, that would kind of do it in, wouldn't it? Yeah. Maybe we reduce clothing prices then. Although maybe in a state that's not being horrifically flooded to death, because the whole flooding issue is probably making it very unprofitable right now. Meat is very expensive. So normally I would make this in Iowa. I would build tobacco here, but meat is actually so expensive. I need to consider the meat industry instead. Finnish people from Russia. Well, at least it's not Finnish from Finland, I guess. Let's get modern financial instruments because we need to keep the interest rates down. I kind of want to switch to electric fencing for the livestock ranches. I think we'll do that. Because that's going to give us more demand for electricity, which is good because some of them have just been not making a profit and it's been bleeding us on subsidies. But that's also just, again, less laborers. In fact, I think you could get rid of laborers entirely, couldn't you? No, you couldn't, but you could get rid of most of them, but not all of them. Still, that's worth considering. Because I think Colorado... Yeah, look at that. We did all of those switches, and now the livestock ranch in Colorado has really high productivity compared to before. And that will probably hold until the meat prices come back down, which they will probably come back down. But I mean, look at that. Our productivity in other buildings is so high that 27 productivity is considered low value in our country by the game. Which I very much like. I'm always amused when it says that. It's like, yeah, you're making 27 productivity? Ah, sorry, mate. That's not going to cut it. The 29 is still red. Electric. The only thing I can think of is focused hardwood production. Because hardwood is getting more expensive than regular wood. But I think if you switched all of the logging camps over to that, that would actually be a net negative. It's 23,000. No, we would actually still have a surplus of wood production. We would be able to export... Oh, well, you know what? Switch it over then. Just switch it over, I guess. Get more things going. There's an electricity shortage in New Hampshire now. Which, yeah, it's fine. We can fix it. Just more. Did you puppet Mexico? Yeah. Well, yes and no. We made them a protectorate. The problem is making them a puppet has not gone well because other countries keep supporting their independence because they hate us. And they keep growing an army that's actually kind of capable of somewhat fighting back. We could do it by war, but it would cost us 90 infamy, and we've been spending a lot of our infamy in China. Oh, shoot. Speaking of China, there's a bit of a alarm bell situation over there. But we've been making most of China into subjects, which we're then just getting invested in. Speaking of which, we have investments in Russia now, which, as you can see, Russian GDP suddenly spikes right after we get investment rights there. I couldn't imagine why it's suddenly spiking at all. Mexico is probably getting investment rights there too, now that I think about it. Unplanned debate. Well, anything that buffs the evangelicals, of course. But yeah, Mexico is technically a subject. It's just not a puppet because it would be too costly at this stage. Wow, Canadian GDP spiking up after it becomes a subject. I mean, what can I tell you? Their standard of living jumped several points too. I'm sure they're buying up Colt Revolvers as well. They're obsessed with opium. That's not my problem. Yet. It's not yet my problem. There's 400,000 unemployed pops in Connecticut now. Connecticut just keeps getting pops. And then it builds more arms industries. An alliance with Austria. Maybe? I'm not against the idea, although it looks like they're losing the war. Nah, we don't really need it. We could take it, but we don't need it. Yes, another 20 to the Know-Nothing Party. Which I find to be a funny title. I kind of know the context behind it in the US, but I find that to just be a funny title for our party. It's like, yeah, we're going to call ourselves the Know-Nothing Party. It's like, wait. We know nothing. It's like, that's not what it means, but will people understand that? No one knows. Anyway, more automation, so less laborer jobs. Also, because so many railways are being built at this point, I'm not entirely certain they were staying profitable. So using all of that transportation will make it a bit easier for them to stay in profitable. I clicked the -50 for the rule of folk by accident. Didn't mean to hurt the rule of folk that way, but oh well. Oh yeah, Saudi Arabia. Well, I mean, we could at some point. By the way, Persia somehow managed to stay independent this whole game. I don't know how they did it. They actually want to give us investment rights because their economy is small. Yeah. That makes sense. They don't want a power block embassy, though. So I could just do this. Can I... Oh, see, they would give us a railway monopoly. That's what I mean. Is sometimes they're at -50. They don't consider the industry that important to their country. And they're actually willing to give you the monopolies. Except oil, apparently, which I assume is probably related to something. So we'll just get a monopoly right to the standard oil of railways in Persia, I guess. I thought about the Cult monopoly, but I want to keep the production here so we can export it from the US. Maybe that's greedy of me, though. Maybe we don't need to do that. Man, they do not like our laws. Yeah, they're not going to support it. Oh, the communist movement just lost a valuable supporter. GDPC of 9. That's only second? Who's better than us? Beulah? Are they at least someone's subject? No? Oh, it's a chiefdom. Chat, I'd like to note that some guys on an island have more per capita, have a better per capita than us. Don't ask how they do it. It's magic. They're just that good. Oh, if you were willing to become my subject, I'd invade in a heartbeat. I would go over in a heartbeat if they were willing to agree. The Ford Motor Company having the highest productivity is really not a surprise. Alabama has another one of these mass produces we could do. Which, I'm going to reluctantly do it because we kind of have the rubber now. Oh, the automation's going to be expensive, though. Oh, that's while it's not even full. Yikes. Oh, well. It'll do for now. Speaking of which, I need to switch over to assembly lines. The problem is it uses a lot of electricity. Let's switch the arms industries over first, and I know that's gonna cause problems in several of them. They're gonna have to get a lot of upgrades, because I think that's gonna be 2K. Virginia, I think Virginia didn't have any built up either, so probably 2K, yeah. Although, what is 20? 20's not enough. We need at least 30, actually. Considering what 5 is sitting at. It said Oregon and Kentucky, which... Kentucky we knew about, but Oregon not as much. Yeah, I would just build another 30 there. What else? Where else? I think that's all of them, right? Virginia, Oregon. Yeah. Oh, I clicked on Washington, not Oregon. Getting my states mixed up again. A lot of monopolies I tend to do. I tend to pretty much always get the food company because you get the 5% birth rate, and I always give that a monopoly. I like to give monopolies as much as I can. So we have like a paper and logging camp monopoly. But one you'll always see me doing is definitely food industry. The others kind of depend on our goals. In this case, we have a arms industry and trade center monopoly for the Colts company. Because that's the whole point of this run to begin with. So that's why we're doing it. Yeah, this is going to temporarily suffer until the electricity issue is solved. But don't worry, we're focusing the government specifically on that issue. Oh, yeah, look at that. Standard Oil is just building up a bunch of railways in Russia. You gotta love it. Which is great because they could probably use the infrastructure. I don't know if they need the infrastructure. I'm just guessing. But their economy's been growing ever since we started investing. Porcelain is expensive again. Yikes. Some other monopolies I like to do is usually resource-based ones, which might sound a little weird because that means they're making the resource more expensive. But those are usually going to always turn a very good profit. So an example of that is we have the oil monopoly with Standard Oil. And as you can see, Standard Oil is making a really good profit. In fact, if I go to companies really quickly here, you can see Standard Oil is the most profitable company. They have a railroad monopoly as well, and I would give them a third monopoly if I wasn't burning all my authority on monopolies. We really should pass more restrictive laws, shouldn't we? If only they'd let us end democracy, but they won't permit it. It's also why I don't do laissez-faire as much. Laissez-faire can still be a really good law, but it forbids monopolies, and I like to use monopolies in my games. So, I don't use that as much. They're building in Montana. 92 in Montana. I didn't even know they built any in Montana. They already have 92 of them there. Oh, this has a 266k profitability of weekly imbalance, and it has no cash reserves. That is kind of scary, actually. What do you mean you have no cash reserves? Where did all your money go? I'm a little scared now. Speaking of which, though, since we built all of that hardwood, and we're making a lot of luxury furniture, we could just make more luxury furniture. I don't see why we couldn't. There are some areas where that's already built up a good deal. Let's Michigan. Wow, Michigan is a lot of people. California has a lot of people, finally. Last I checked, it didn't. We could actually build this up. It's not owned by a company, which kind of sucks. But that's okay. We could easily make more. Actually, which one of you has the investment rights? Guangdong. Ah, I wish I could give it to the others. But they don't have the GDP, and frankly, they never will. Well, at least they have shipyards, I guess. They can invest into those whenever they want. Just trying to reduce... There's almost 1 million peasants in Missouri now. The poor steel mill just is unable to maintain hiring practices. Why are you having an issue? You're trying to hire machinists in financial districts. Well, there's your first problem. Found your first issue. You're trying to hire people who really don't want to go back to work. They would much rather continue to live in their cozy penthouses. So maybe don't try to hire those people, and you'll be well on your way to finding ones who actually want to work. The hiring logic is a little funny sometimes. Usually it's pretty good about what it does. Sometimes it's a little silly. In this case, it's being a little silly. Sorry, I'm finding the wrong menu for the build menu, because we need more lead production at this point. We're starting to make more glass, and I need to at least use up the rest of the lead production in the US before we start doing it overseas. Russia, thankfully, has a lot of lead potential. Your construction sector increase... It does... Oh, dear. Crisis in Paris? Oh, because they still own the capital. A lot of your construction loop kind of depends on what can you afford, what can your private pool cover, and how much of the resource for the construction loop can you build. So iron, tools, wood, and fabric are kind of the ones you're dealing with first in that regard. And I would say it greatly depends on how much of those can you consistently feed and keep functional, as well as affordable, really. Because those are going to be your biggest sources of pain early on for construction. Railways are getting a lot of subsidies. I just threw it onto steel mills because I wanted to get that up. Our unrealized taxes. How many taxes are we missing in Michigan? Oh my god, we're not even taxing these people. How much money are you actually getting taxed on then? Only 1.8% of your dividends? Oh my god, we're missing out on so much money. I find it so funny, I almost want to let this go. Except I need to afford construction, so I can't let this go. Just build like 30 more there in Michigan. Anyway, I would say it strongly depends on how much you can afford and how expensive it is to afford everything. If you focus on keeping your construction goods from getting expensive and get your investment pool up and running to where it can hold more of the costs for you, it is easier. If you're playing a nation that's on traditionalism, I would highly advise to get off that, because not only does it cripple your investment pool, it gives you minus 15% market access price impact, it hurts your taxation capacity, it generally just cripples you and makes everything harder in an economic sense. Speaking of the economics, we're spending 8 million right now and almost all that. Why are steel mills at 7.5 in subventions? Oh. You see, I started giving them subsidies to get them to hire a bit. I didn't realize, chat, that there were so many steel mills that were only like half hired that they were going to actually crash the steel price if they ever got fully equipped. I need to turn that off because we cannot afford that. That's why giving steel rights and even steel monopolies to companies is so dangerous. The amount of steel they build is insane. Covering up controversial weapons use? Ah, no, don't cover it up. Keep using them. What could go wrong? Just use them. Who are we bringing into the country? A communist, an armed forces communist. Well, I'm bemused. Let's see what he has to say before he loses everything anyway. Yeah, most of our uncollected taxes is because we technically have the short-term tax cuts, which we never got rid of. So that's technically... I'm sorry, wait. Wait. Wait, you're telling me the Southern planters are in the pro-British lobby and the anti-British lobby? And it's not like a different Britain, right? It's the exact same Britain? Because that's a bug, if so. Yeah, that's a bug. Bought them Ow, thanks, Britain. I hate that. So, that's definitely a bug. Might have to file a report for that later. Sorry for the noise. I really hope they fix that one day in Victoria 3. It's been in the game for months, though, so it might not happen until the next big patch. Yeah, that was way too much steel production. We could have tried to mass export it, but we do not have things set up for that. Nor the importation of steel or iron to export that. We don't have any of it. It would not go well. How are we on the world market? 26,000 small arms are actually being bought now. The price is at minus 53%. That is very low. We've been introduced to telephones by someone, which is fantastic. Who's exporting them? The Europeans, mostly. Apparently so are we, so someone in our market is starting to make them, is what's happening. Poor Belgium's almost been wiped off the map at this point. Spain is attacking Morocco, who's communist. Oh, they're currently suffering a slaver revolt. That's funny. It's not funny to them, but it is funny to me. Just under 26 standard of living. Our upper strata is sitting at, oh god darn it, game, is sitting at 77 after modifiers. Services are plus 35% expense for them. Honestly, at this point, I should... Oh, there's technology done. Honestly, at this point, I should just switch over the urban centers to using arcades. The only reason why I haven't switched it over yet, chat, is because arcades have this funny feature where they actually add jobs. Now, they remove laborer jobs, but the number of cleric and shopkeeper jobs they add is actually greater than the number of laborer jobs they remove. But they'll at least add more service, and... Oh, you know what? Electric streetlights. Never got around to using those. So let's use those first. And then ignore any consequences of our actions thereafter. Because what could go wrong? Right? Oh, actually, can we get concrete dockyards for the modern port? That'd be great. Just so we need less people in them. Some of these are going to have way too much of a... Yeah, there's the electricity shortage. But I'm wondering, will they actually start to build Oh, they have some electricity scheduled, but they're probably not going to build more until... Yeah, there we go, until they finish things. Oh! Do we have Belle Epoque active? We do. Washington actually has enough of urban center levels. We never switched over to this electric streetlights. It's probably had enough levels for a while because of the steel mill, which is being built here for unknown reasons. I suppose I shouldn't question their all-thinking investments. I'm sure they have a reason for it, right, chat? There's no way they'd be investing into absolutely terrible solutions. They would never do that, right? Honestly, I'm half tempted to switch over to public motor carriages now. Just to get rid of jobs. I might as well, right? Just switch everything over. Which is technically going to harm the motor industries. But they have enough exports, they'll be fine. The automobiles, Ford automobiles no less, getting used in the urban centers will be better in the long run. And that, at least, actually removes more jobs than it adds. Considering we're unable to fully employ them, apparently. I can't even see the reason why, because there's too many different types of pops here. But I'm going to assume it has to do with something with the electricity prices. It's not the actual reason, but I'm just going to assume it's the reason. The game can't stop me from assuming otherwise. It can try, but it won't. Meat is now the highest. What is happening with these prices? Who's in the anti-British Association? You know what? Sure, I'll declare a rivalry of Britain. Everyone doesn't like Britain, and Britain hates us, so... We'll just declare a rivalry to make the trade union happy, I guess. Their happiness is temporary, but... Oh, well. I see, they are starting to build a bunch of electric industries themselves. It just might take time for them to finish construction. It's only going to take them a few months, actually. Wow, okay. They definitely have a lot of construction ready to go. And the next mass migration waves have begun. It's over 1 million peasants in Missouri now. We really should build something else in Missouri. Maybe even a livestock ranch at this rate. The livestock ranch in Iowa is actually just struggling to hire. Just for, I guess just the reason that there's no one to hire. Okay, just do this. Force the peasants off their land because I'd rather they be in the wheat farms than in their peasant zones. It'll force them to get a different job at least. If only we had companies that owned these for us, that make it a bit more profitable compared to before. GDP is gonna wobble a bit here as everything's kind of going up and down now. We're still running debt, but it's kind of like how the U.S. does it in real life. As long as our productivity and GDP exceed the new debt we're getting, we'll be fine. Except in reality, that's not happening for the U.S. recently. But we can try to replicate it right now. Okay, make you a subject now, so it's a little more money for us. I might actually just start taking more money from them. Not that I can take a lot to begin with. They're not that rich compared to us. Food corporation's really starting to struggle in productivity, and to be honest with you, I'm not that surprised. The pricing is not going very well. I think that's just a general issue of making way too many buildings at once. Wow, the subsistence farm here is full. Okay. Well, we need a lot of meat production. Why is this negative? Drought. Ah, I love droughts. Don't you love droughts, chat? I hear they're very good. They're not good. They're awful. Don't be happy about droughts. We'll solve the meat situation next then, I guess. And Bengal is now sending people to Iowa, which has need of pops anyway, so... There you go, I guess. Oil rush subsides. It's not important. It'll be fine. We're at 267 million pops now, and the migrations are just continuing. We're not even conquering anything. People just keep migrating here. There's 500,000 unemployed in Connecticut. What is our welfare payment at? 253K. It's not that bad. They're actually starting to struggle to hire in the arms industry. I think it has something to do with the price difference. Yeah, they're trying to have higher productivity. Which is funny because there's 500,000 unemployed pops who would really just want the job at this point. I don't think they care too much. Running 1,000,000 points in deficit now, and it's subsidies. I don't know why we're spending so much on railway subsidies. Because they've overbuilt. They've overbuilt, and we're already using railway automation as much as we can. I don't want to stop funding it. Oh, that's a lot of pollution. I thought we already had the National Guard. Was I on Secret Police? No, we've had the National Guard. We've had it for a long time. The National Guard's been here for a very long time. I think I might have to cut the railway subsidies at this point, because it's literally our deficit. Yeah, even if it causes some issues, I just gotta cut the railway subsidies, because it's literally our deficit is just railway subsidies. You cut that out, and wow, the deficit falls like a rock. We never switched this over. We should just do that now. Electric engines is not something we need, but we're just gonna tap on it for a moment, so it goes away. Man, you can't even find people to work your job at this point. You're just having all kinds of trouble. Well, let's give you some automation then. You'll suffer and it'll suck, but it should be okay. Hey! The resilient brown bear from Russia. Into the New York Zoo, which sounds fitting to me. Or at least it sounds workable. It won't suffer. No, it's not max, because we're technically missing a technology, but it's as good as it'll get. You need to get mass surveillance, but I usually don't grab it until later on. We'll probably grab it here because we're running out of technologies. But I usually don't grab it too much. I actually want to grab paved roads first, since we're not funding railroads anymore. So now the question is, no, I think we don't want to give Yankee this obsession, right? Because art is for leisure, right? Yeah, no, we actually want to say no to this. I always take the art obsession, but this time we're actually saying no because Colt Revolvers. Wouldn't want to throw that out the window now, would we? 33,000 pop consumption, almost 50,000 trade exportation. And then oil is our biggest import, with actually more of it's coming from Austria than it is Russia. For now, at least. That could always change. Speaking of Russia, they have an absolute mountain of oil that's just not even accessed right now. I don't know, do they even have the qualification? They should have the qualifications, because I noticed that earlier that they have religious schools, so they have qualification generation. They don't have serfdom anymore either, which is worth considering. Wow, those are maxed out. Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's already a good deal of oil just made and ready to go. Alberta can get more. Mexico can get more, but they hate us. So that's why we haven't invested. Bengal gave us investment rights recently, which is nice. And a little strange, because I thought they hated us, but I guess they changed their mind after a while. They don't hate us anymore, they just strongly dislike us, but they want our money. Something to that effect. Yeah, there we are. We're just under 2.5 billion. We could probably get 10 GDP-C if we improve things a little more. Maybe just have less peasants. Maybe, well, the 3 million unemployed might be the real issue, but I'm hoping the unemployed will just shuffle themselves into a different job position and everything will be fine. Yeah, there's actually a lot of unemployed in Missouri right now. Which we can partially help by just funding the livestock ranch here, so it'll easily hire them. And then it should stay fine, because we're not actually spending any money, but because the building's getting subsidized, it's okay with just hiring away, because it knows if it'll go into a bit of a deficit point that the government's just going to fund it. I don't know if we can make Canada into an extraction economy. I wish they had a larger GDP pool so I could give them investment rights, because they actually have some really good companies that I would really love for them to start investing into us. They have to become a Well, actually, the only thing we can do is annex them. We can't even influence their laws. Still dealing with the previous law imposed on them. Oh, they're bugged. Yeah, Canada is bugged right now. Oh, well. That kind of sucks, but it happens. Nothing we can do about that, then. I would say reloading might fix it, but I don't know when the bug started. And it's not critically important to me. This is going to demand oil and use up less coal, but it is going to switch some jobs around, so that's good. Technically, it's their productivity, though, because they're already losing money to begin with. Now they're going to lose more money. Which is actually not good for me, because that's a lot of subsidies. Anti-British Association, let's go. Everyone's against the British. Even the British are against the British. Or that's what the propaganda posters will say, anyway. British against the British. Won't make any sense. But as long as no one asks questions, we'll be fine. But this is crazy that they have a base wealth level of 76, chat, but because of all that prestige good consumption, they're getting an extra 14 standard of living levels out of it. Like, just an extra 10%. The 10% would for the extraction economy. The problem is, again, is Canada's bugged. I can't affect their economy or their laws at all. Which kind of sucks, but their economy has been growing steadily ever since they joined us. Not by will, but by force, but yeah. Oh, there we go. Whatever that bug was, it finally ended on our end. Oh, I did just realize if we switch them to an extraction economy, all of their heavy industry buildings will die out. Which really isn't my problem now that I think about it. But I think there's heavy resistance to it, right? Yeah, 39% stall chance. Yikes. Yeah, that is a lot of stall chance. Could still do it. They have hereditary bureaucrats? That's weird. Why would you have that? That is so strange. I don't think they'll enact it, but we can try. I mean, we'll see if they do. They're trying to enact it, but 20% chance against like a almost 40% stall chance is not good odds. Just in general, it's not good odds. Let's see. We let the construction finish. We're still running a deficit now because our subsidies are back up thanks to the ports, but that's going down. We're fine, honestly, at the rate we're going. The game will end long before that. But the economy is having some issues now that the unemployment has spiked a lot. The livestock branch has a lot of automation, so it didn't exactly fill and give everyone jobs, you see. So, I think that calls for more glassworks. That's what I think it calls for. In fact, maybe we should build a lot of tool production here. It's already below base price. And the steel mills are just struggling in general. We saw before if they try to hire fully, they crash the price. And I mean, like, it crashes. Our budget was dying when we tried to do it. So we'll have to see. No, the IGs being in, like, a pro-US lobby actually won't change their opinion on the laws. They don't care at all. Now, if they're really happy because they really like us, like, they have all of that, then sure, it could stop it. In fact, I think Canada might be facing that exact situation. No, it's the trade union that is upset with the landowners. Huh. Communist Party really is getting a lot of popularity lately. That's kind of surprising considering we're under wealth voting. Although I find that to be very amusing as well. Bishop takes black pawn. Alrighty, if you say so, game. That's a lot of railroads in one location. Why would you build 52 railroads there? Why is North Livonia so blackened out? What's happening there? All right, there we go. 2.5 million GDP. Actually, at the rate we're going, we're going to hit 1930 in like an hour. And maybe call it around there? We'll see. There we go. The Democratic Party got its momentum back, so it's fine. Who's migrating to us now? Oh, it's Indonesians. Okay, what else can we build in Missouri then? Because it is... You know what? What does trade look like in Missouri? Almost 10K. It's not even fully staffed. Is it not being subsidized? It's not, actually. That might be something we want to subsidize then, because we can get more people to work that job then. And also, I could not help but notice, but Russia actually has trade potential now in certain states because of its oil export potential. It's all the same. So that's good. And if Russia starts exporting more things like oil, then we can just import that. Although Tula is just struggling to hire people, which isn't a thing we can solve for them. So, you know, have fun. We'll just be over here messing with our economy while we hope they get theirs together. So I am going to be spending a bit of subsidies on trade centers there, but that should get more trade capacity going, which hopefully will actually help the economy a little more. Just a little more. Yeah, because, oh yeah, look, now that the trade center built another 80 levels and fully hired, it's got over 8,000 potential trade capacity. Now, whether it will actually use all that capacity is a different story, but one can hope that it will. Gonna tab out of that because sitting in that is just making it lag. Ooh, that's a bit of a war. Aggressive campaigning of the against the know-nothing party. Well, that kind of sucks. Oh, we found gold in Colorado in 1920. Or not gold, it was it in gold? Oh, no, it's just a very late, very, very late event in related to it, even though it had already happened. Weird. Very weird. So we could, if we're willing to drop down to a contested government, we could pull the yeoman farmers into office. They don't really offer us anything helpful. It's just we could use them to break the trade union back down a little. Or we could be extra funny. Oh no, the illegitimate ideological compatibility is way too high. They didn't get enough votes. That's funny. Wow, the evangelicals are actually kind of struggling. That is concerning for them. What happens? I'm actually curious. What happens if I remove these amendments? It doesn't say anything happens, but do they get upset about it? Revolutionary sympathies, timed modifiers. No, they don't care. It's been there so long that they actually don't care. Really? I thought they would care about you removing the amendments, but I'm not seeing any example of that there. Might try to remove one more somewhere. Oh, we could actually start removing political concessions for the bourgeoisie too, just to start knocking them down. You know what? That's actually a funny idea. I want to see that happen, because what you're at neutral +4. What happens if I remove this concession? Because that's a big concession. Still neutral +4. They didn't change at all. But they did just lose a nice chunk. They just lost a nice chunk of clout. So removing political concessions does not upset them at all, which I feel like that's a little strange. I feel like they would get upset if you did that. But I guess we can just go around removing those now to reshape our political system to what we want. So I have to go through and check all the amendments now. Actually, it's easier if I do it like this, because it'll actually show me right here if someone wants to remove it or not. The slavery ban has amendments still. Oh, women's suffrage has some concessions we could just revoke. I don't know if that's going to affect movements at all. I know they are discontent if amendments are on certain things. By the way, no one actually wants to remove the Second Amendment because it's parent law is National Guard. You could technically repeal it, which sounds really funny to me, if you can get someone that opposes the National Guard, but most IGs either support it or they don't care. Anyway, we're going to go to the next week now and watch the bourgeoisie here at 25.4. It's going to tick a bit. They just dropped 2 percentage points. And the trade union now activated solidarity because they're communist left. The industrialists actually gained a lot of clout. And that's going to help the evangelicals. It actually made this a little popular. So what? You're going to join the Socialist Party. You're going to join the Republican Party. So you're just moving in a very weird way. No. To remove the tradition of free elections, someone needs to... It has a bit of a harder restrict... Oh. Wait, what? Wait, what do you mean it can't be repealed until 1990? What? I know this bugged out and we somehow got the amendment twice, but what do you mean it can't be removed for like another 70 years? I'm sorry? It also has the additional requirement here that you need either the ruler to support like autocracy or single party, or a powerful interest group supporting its enactment. But somehow, one of them is bugged to where you can't repeal it until 1990. Unless you, I guess, force switch to banning elections anyway. Oh? Oh? Who won the elections the last election? Technically the Democratic Party, so they would be the ones that take power. Unless... Yeah, they are president. They are president. I mean, single party state would be funny, and funnily enough, it's the trade union supporting it. I don't think I can't get the trade union into office right now, though, because they didn't get a lot of votes, so we have to kind of wait. Oh, they're really... You know what? Fine. I'll give them their religious schools. They've been begging for it. I'll give it to them. The New York Metro. Only because we're in 1920 and the time for the game is just kind of running itself out at this point. I'm sorry? I feel like that's meant for only Prussia, but we'll see if it sticks around. Because that sounds neat. Because it helps the armed forces and it actually gives you a bit of a simulation. So we will lose 52.5% instead of 62.5%. I've never seen that before. That's another amendment that is new to me because I've not seen it before. It's 65. Honestly, at this point, I'm just going to switch back to the righteous government, even though it will upset people. Because that's just going to allow us to pass the law faster. Actually negotiate with the armed forces now. Yeah. I don't want to give the bourgeoisie any clout, but I do want to see if... No workers' rights next. Oh my god, okay. That's a little hostile. Subsidies are through the roof for food industries now. Oh, wow, they've just been spam building these. Which doesn't surprise me, but it's... Yet another thing I have to stop giving subsidies for because they've just gone mad with it. Apparently we're subsidizing glassworks too, which I actually don't think we should do anymore. Because that... did you just get a flood? Yeah, that's what it is. That's why it's crashing. They just got a 5.7 intensity flood. So that's why suddenly this area of the economy has gone belly up and needs injections. Floods are really damaging at times. Even though we have a level 4 National Guard that's reducing their impact by 20%. And then we also have the sewage system that reduces it by another 10%. So that's the impact at 70% instead of 100. So that hurts. Just a little. Norwegian Socialist Revolt. So business as usual then, right? For Norway, at least. 240 million GDP. Yeah, the Russian GDP is just accelerating as we invest into them more and more. It helps that they're able to export a lot. We actually have a lot of trade capacity we can't utilize. Although some of that might be, yeah, in Missouri where there's flooding everywhere. So, not really a surprise as the local economy breaks down. French positivist revolt. Well, it's not very positive of them. Oh, it's another socialist revolt. This time in Sweden. Really should focus on Scandinavia, I guess. They're having so many revolts, we could take advantage of it at some point. If they continue. You're making a lot of money. Is Tula profitable still? No, it can't get a good hiring loop going. Oh, that's a financial district. That's why. I was like, why is this one doing well then? Because it's not a trade center. It's a financial district. Of course it's profitable. Don't even know what technology just finished. I double-clicked. I don't even know what technology we finished. You know what? It's fine. It's whatever it was. It's fine. The art of doing nothing. Well, that's just business as usual in American politics. The art of doing nothing. Very good at that, you see. So despite all the construction we have, our peasant and unemployment have both gone up because of the endless mass migrations. Even though most of their construction is actually in-state. Although, it's not exactly focused in the areas that have a lot of unemployment to begin with. And then obviously it's spiking in the areas that have been hit by that disastrous flooding. Absolutely disastrous. Tobacco. I mean, you've got a lot of peasants down here. We might want to invest down here a little more. See, like, Florida, we could make a lot of sugar. We tend to import lots of sugar. Sugar is very profitable, so let's just build that up completely. And in fact, really should do the same here in Texas instead of the other way around. Hey, debate fail. Fantastic. I was wondering when we'd get to see that again. You know, it's always just kind of hiding in the background, waiting to fail your government. Meat is still above base price. So, this food industry in Tennessee is still struggling. But it's doing better now that it's not under that disastrous flood. Its market access price, in fact, isn't being slaughtered. Yeah, we are using it already in clothing. We're just not making luxury clothes. But I think it's being used in porcelain production a lot. I think we actually make more dye synthetically now. Not yet. Because of all the subjects that we have, but it has accelerated in regards to synthetic dye production. Success chance, please. And we start building and our costs skyrocket. Interest rates are getting higher. Maybe we should cut the short-term tax cuts if we're allowed to. Nope, still can't. No one opposes it. The only one who does is the armed forces. And that would be just to get the 10% back of tax that we're not able to collect because of it. Which technically would raise taxes, but not as much as actually going up the next level to normal tax. Although it looks like it is time for another set of government administration construction as well. It's only going to be like 1% of our unrealized taxes here, but it's something that we're already not taxing instead. What is our population chart looking like now? Yep, that's what I thought. We've been getting so many Han pop migrations from our Han subjects, or our Chinese subjects, that they make up about 7% of the population now. So multiculturalism is working very well in that regard. To a lot of our subjects just kind of mass migrating to us. Slowly, but surely. We could just annex them now. Probably shouldn't, but it sounds funny. What is the top 10 looking like? So, if the River Plate... Wow, wait. River Plate? Argentina? Argentina is the 10th largest economy at almost 100 million. What is their economy made up of? Grain, groceries, wine, sulfur, dye, clothes. Okay, so it's 30% auto... I see. Okay. They just hid their cars over here or something. I was wondering why they had so much GDP. 30% of it is in one state where A fourth of that is just cars and then sugar. Oh, actual Han mass migration to Vermont all the way over here. There it is. I knew where Vermont was. That is a lot of pops for Vermont. I don't even know if some of these states have these populations IRL. New York's probably too low, but... We're actually at almost 300 million pops now, chat. Our population has been exploding the last 20 years. Which is probably why our peasant and unemployment pool just never drops. It's because we're constantly getting more pops. Endlessly. Although I need to let construction slow down because I feel like we're not getting enough of them still in the end. Or that it's overbuilding certain buildings then choking on it. Speaking of which, are we using... We are doing the nitrogen fixation process. Okay. Had to make sure we were actually doing that and didn't forget. You're not even maxed on your coal production. Otherwise, it's pretty much solid. Min people from the Shanxi clique as well. Can't wait for Missouri to recover and start hiring people again and not having a mass exodus brought about by horrific flooding that's crippling infrastructure. Because that just screams fun. It definitely screams fun. If someone tells you otherwise, they're lying. You love it when your highly profitable state is suffering a massive flood and is bringing down your economy. All right, there we go. We have religious education now. Technically, less pops will both be in it, and more pops will be in it. It's a weird mismatch. Prussian education actually stayed, so the armed forces got something out of it by getting a more 10% conscriptable battalions. That's a lot of conscriptable battalions for a professional army. Not bad. Not bad. Armed forces are still suffering, but they have like 5 separate concessions. The only thing that would benefit them more would be militarized police force. I wonder if that has anything on it. Like any special little bonuses. I don't think it does, but you never know. See, I don't want to switch to wage subsidies, but I also kind of want to switch to wage subsidies. I know that's going to get rid of the religious workhouses, but I'm starting to wonder, because of all the hiring issues I'm seeing in certain states, I'm wondering if it's just the wage isn't high enough and they're refusing to move over, and since there's no minimum wage, the building is refusing to increase. Like, this tooling workshop in Missouri is paying them at 4.3 average annual wage, which is way too low. I assume that's because of the flood that happened, so it's just not paying them. Because there's other buildings that are paying way more. But then, like, this tooling workshop in New York is paying 7.5. Yeah, okay. We're going to get wage subsidies. Well, we can't do militarized police force until mass surveillance finishes researching, which is... It's currently doing. We already have 805 arms industries and they want us to double it if we choose that. No, just take your political concessions. We're not spiking the arms industries to that extent that fast. That would be crippling. Hey, we're making a surplus again. Not for long, I'm sure, but at least it's a surplus for now. Oh god, they're building 61 tooling workshops here while it was flooding. Why would you do that? That's stupid. A lot of these buildings should hire back now. The livestock range is doing fine at least, which is good. I love how pop consumption of meat is so high because of all the German pops we have. And maybe other pops too that have an obsession with it. I don't know if they do though. We haven't really seen anything, but Germans make up about 8% of the total population and they have a meat obsession, so it's not that surprising. Still getting 50,000 Yankee assimilation per month. 12,000 Dixie per month. Wage subsidy should pass with ease. Our per capita is falling because we're getting so many pops here, and the floods are crippling things as well. We're at 300 million pops as the U.S., and all we own outside the U.S. is Eastern Cuba, which is because I was considering annexing the rest of Cuba, and then we never did. So it's just kind of sitting here with a Han majority now. It just kind of sits here. It's like our little outpost to keep Cuba under wraps. Yeah, yep, that's how it works for militarized police force. British Royalist Revolt, and the revolt is winning. Is the revolt being assisted? No, it's not. Do they have the capital yet? Or where is the British capital? It's all the way in the Highlands, so this British revolt, the monarchist revolt, probably won't win because by the time they reach the Highland, they'll probably die on their support, even though they're winning. Yeah, because their casualties are already super high. But hey, it temporarily hurts the British. I might need to... Yeah, the investment pool is just overbuilding stuff. Which is par for the course for an investment pool. Who would have guessed? Meanwhile, iron is... Well, we're importing 63,000 oil and 53,000 iron now. The bulk of the iron imports are Germany and Russia. In case you were wondering whether our investments were going to pay off or not. The answer, iron. Iron everywhere. And in fact, as far as the Russian part is concerned, its iron is nowhere near fully exploited. It still has a lot of room for that. And we're just going to, regardless of the results, we're just going to build that up right now. Because they have trade capacity and we have trade capacity and we can just import the iron. Tools have actually shot up really hard. Which I assume is getting imported by the Russians. So Canada's not on extraction economy yet, but they're under consideration. It looks like they're making progress. Which would at least give their oil rigs 10% more throughput, so that's neat. Not that they have a lot of people working in some of them. This one's maxed out, but they don't have the better production method for it. It would benefit the logging camps. So that's cool. Where are you led by? You're a traditionalist, and who's next in line then, if you get thrown out? Probably a moderate or a traditionalist. A moderate. It's because there's no movement exerting pressure on them. 15% corporatist movement, though. Okay, so we're going to wait the 5 months for mass surveillance to finish. I want to find that tool workshop. Not that one, the one in Missouri. That's at 4.23 wage. We'll see now that we've had the tick of like, hey, you know, there's technically a minimum wage now. It was shifted down and then it shifted up, but that could be it lost its lower rung. Oh, it jumped up to 4.27. It might be easier to track the government administration because the normal wage is 6.74 currently, and they have to do a minimum wage that's 30% of that. And it just jumped to 6.66. So the minimum wage is definitely going up. 6.57. Okay, it's going up, but it's not going that up. How are we on welfare payments? Because I might increase Social Security. Keyword is might. I'm not sure if I will. No, let's do it, because we have a couple million unemployed pops, which I think is only going to grow at this point. And those pops having a higher standard of living would mean more goods demand. Because right now they're sitting at, what, 8 standard of living as a base rate? They do give us a lot of pops at that level. 666, right? The government's evil. Yeah, we'll give them more because that's going to increase the minimum wage, which means hopefully buildings like this stop paying less than 2 ducats, which is horrendous. If we wanted to go a step further, we could go for worker protections as well, because that would give us... Well, the evangelicals won't support it, so we probably can't do that, actually. At least the trade union will be very happy for a while. Oh, that's right. A part of our unemployment growth that keeps happening is because we haven't reached our workforce ratio max. And I'm going to be honest with you, with the constant assimilation and migrations, we're never going to reach it. Because it's always going to get pushed back down by the pop groups joining in that aren't maxed out. So it's just going to keep growing. So we're always going to get more pops joining the workforce pretty much indefinitely. If we wanted that to grow, we probably should have switched over sooner, but I didn't think we'd get a flood of pops, yet here we are, getting an absolute flood of plops. Plops? Pops. The intelligentsia concession we might be able to remove at some point. They have a couple of them, and those are the only things keeping them alive, actually. Without those concessions, they just die. I don't know if I can remove their state religion one. Because the parent law for it is state religion. So I don't think they... Yeah, no one opposes that. They would have to oppose state religion itself. I'm not going to remove the rule folk concession. Because I actually want them to stick around and keep giving us the honest work bonus. Even though they hate all of our laws. Which is funny. That's the military, which you don't want to do. Okay, there's one that we can do. That will potentially remove the trade union, or the intelligentsia, from existence. Well, no, they're in a party, so they could probably still hold on, couldn't they? Probably. So dedicated police force just does these two things. Switching to militarized chat is going to make us get less radicals from low status and political movements, but we're also going to get mortality. I usually don't use it because of the mortality increase per turmoil, but our turmoil is extremely low. It's fine. We'll just do it and we'll see what happens. The yeomans can be giving political concessions. The evangelicals can't really be given anything. Racial segregation next. They want us to remove multiculturalism. The intelligentsia, they technically are marginalized. But because they're a part of a political party, they have to drop down to, I think, less than 2% to actually be removed. So that's the fun thing now, is that dropping below 4% is no longer you get eliminated if you're part of a political party. The new threshold, I believe, is 2%. So it is easier to keep all the interest groups around, and it's actually harder to get rid of them. Which is why it's so funny that the Southern planters are just gone. It's like gone. How is the Ford Motor Company doing? Standard of living wise. They've fallen a bit, but that's not too surprising given the ongoing fluctuations. I love how their top 5 goods demand is small arms. They're consuming over 2,000. Technically, small arms demand dropped a bit because of the introduction of automobiles, but the introduction of automobiles was kind of an inevitability. It was going to eventually happen. The obsession makes it to where they're still demanding small arms more than automobiles, but you know, adding automobiles on there does kind of hurt it. Let's switch the urban centers that are where our HQs are, because that's where the biggest demand, well, maybe not that one, but that's where our biggest demand for services is relative to everything else. This one actually has a lot of demand for services. So we're kind of doing like a gradual switch because it technically adds jobs and also electricity demand as always. Because who doesn't want electricity, I suppose? Persian pops again, just because I saw the title. And 26.1 standard of living. I think the farms technically aren't privatized, are they? They're just heavily state-owned. Yeah, I never did switch those over. They're primarily state-owned with some manor houses. We never really did switch it back, huh? It is nice to see them paying like 15 ducats, though, but that's because everyone here's a farmer. Prosperous to affluent farmers, depending on what you're looking at. They're technically, at a base rate, they're secure. They're getting a 6 standard of living bonus from everything, which is a fair bit, actually. Oh, are we... I'm going to be honest with you guys. I didn't even notice that we had another Puerto Rico situation going on. I guess we should send the government in, huh? To handle that. Why are there so many unemployed here? I mean, I know, I kind of know why, but why? Oh, automatic power looms. I definitely forgot about those. Might have to use those soon. Might indeed. I think this is struggling to hire because of the electricity expense. But also service costs here are actually going down, which is great for the guys at Standard Oil and the other companies, I'm sure. And I guess whoever's employed by the government and getting a good wage. Speaking of which, the normal wage is now 7.31, so everyone working in government administration and working in the army has gotten a nice pay increase, which is definitely causing some standard of living boosts. Although, yeah, there it is. These guys went up by 1, for example, the bureaucrats. And the army is doing pretty good as well. So are you... You're not obsessed with it. You just buy a lot of it is all. Yep, 2.8 billion GDP now. Our per capita's fallen because of all the pops that keep migrating here. I don't think there's a way for us to pull it up. We're just getting about as many pops as we can employ. Could up construction further. I'm just a little hesitant because the investment pool has been acting weird. But what's steel looking like? Maybe we get ourselves in an endless construction loop here. Steel mills are still doing awful, which means they're doing great. Yeah, I mean, the farms are already set to privatize. It's just a question of whether the private investment pool will actually buy it. Because we can privatize it, and then they just decide they're not going to buy any of it. And that's just kind of the end of it there. Arizona doesn't have infrastructure, so I'm going to fund the railroads there again. We stopped it because they overbuilt railroads, and we were having to pay for them. A lot of other areas are generally fine. They're not fully hiring, but they're not having infrastructure issues, which is partially thanks to the consumption of automobiles. So I'm not as concerned about those areas having issues with their hiring process. Or their, well, yes, their hiring process, but also their infrastructure process. So I think that tool workshop's still going to have really poor wages. Yeah, it's sitting at 2. Oh, that's awful. I mean, it's better than before, but it's still awful. At that point, automation is a burden for it. Yeah, the tool workshops are paying really poor wages considering the expensive costs. Meanwhile, the arms industries are probably paying great wages. Better than the arms... better than the tool workshops, at least. Level 150 has no one working in it because it can't get money. Well, we still have plenty of trade capacity. Importing 60,000 iron now. How is Russia doing? Is it exporting a lot of this? It is exporting almost 30,000 iron. So keep that in mind. It's actually got plenty of export potential. I think we could probably build up Kiev for exports, right? Yeah, we definitely could. We could build that up. Maybe a couple of railways, too. Kharkov has no one to employ, actually. So maybe up here in Perm. There actually have some areas that are not really populated by peasants. Russia's peasant population has fallen below 20 million thanks to all of our investments. Although they also have areas that I think this is not incorporated that are still struggling, so... You win some and you really lose some. What can you do? Invest in trade centers to bypass Mappy, I guess. Partially bypass it at least. And hope it all works out. Oh, we own all the oil rigs here in Samara. They're all owned by Standard Oil. Oh, that's beautiful. In fact, the only thing that would make this better is getting some trade centers here so they can export the oil. I assume they're already mass exporting the oil. But it could be better. They could be exporting more of it. They're exporting 45,000 oil, chat. We're importing 72,000. Oh, and the industrialists have done that thing again where they go to form their own party and split the vote for the liberal bloc. Which is funny. More construction. We're actually making a better profit now. Cool. 27 average standard of living, so our standard of living's starting to go up as well. Let's just take the success chance, actually. I want to get this enacted. I don't think party has lost its momentum again. So the trade center might suffer for... Wow, no, the trade center in Kiev is already almost fully hired. Exporting iron, exporting coal, importing tools from the US, importing automobiles from the US. The one in Samara should struggle because I don't know if it's going to choose well at the start. I think it'll have to cut its wages. They are mass scale trading though, so that is good. German socialists are welcome here. I mean, who are they led by right now? They're actually led by a moderate, so I think it's okay. Also, I find it amusing. Greeks from Greece and Finnish from Finland. It's always funny when it is their primary culture, because that tells you something's going on in those countries over there. Something has to be, given that they're all coming over here. I wonder if the steel mills are starting to hire more because steel prices were pushed upwards. I mean, it looks like they've been fluctuating, so that's a maybe. Like, maybe they are, maybe they aren't. Who's to say? But the private investment pool has a lot of construction potential still, and I know this is crazy, but we have a lot of China we can build in Russia. So we could probably handle it and be fine. Until Russia decides it wants to kill us. Which, hopefully will never happen. They're actually enacting regulatory bodies, and have corporatized unions. Oh no. Russia's actually modernizing. Although it's 1924, so they never had their, whole Civil War thing. But World War I, Civil War, etc. They've actually surpassed Germany in GDP, and they're actually about to surpass Britain because of all of our investments. And then the fact we built up their trade economy, their trade infrastructure, specifically so they'd export their oil. Speaking of which, they are now exporting 52,000 oil and counting. Oh, wow, that is a really good executive. And an additional 15% because of that. Boost the Republican Party. You could still get coal, too. Where are a lot of your pops? Oh, they're in the areas that don't have a lot of raw resources extraction. They could do the logging camp, but the logging camp's already kind of at a cheap price point. Could do coal, though, in Tula. That might actually get Tula's trade center going again. Since it'll have a domestic good it can readily export. There we go. Militarized police are enacted. So, the armed forces are at 12%. That should increase their strength. Well, before the election finishes here. Oh, that was what jumped them up to 12 points in strength, I see. Because the election was still going. Then the election finishes. There's a big war brewing, by the way. Not the Colt Company profit. So, in the end, the government doesn't really change. We can actually bring the industrialists in because they broke from the Republican Party, but they're probably just going to rejoin the Republican Party, so... yeah. We have jumped all the way up to 3 billion GDP, by the way, chat. Probably because we're able to use all of that iron, or all of that steel now. It's probably because of all the steel and the fact glass prices came back up again. 447 automotive industries. Please, for the love of God, stop. You don't need to build anymore. There's enough building to go around. I say as I get more of these going, because why not at this point? The investment pool seems to be more than happy to just invest its heart out. And it seems to be helping the economy, so why not get trapped in a construction loop? Why not? Let's just do it. I love how these construction sectors take 1 week to make now because they only cost 20 points. I believe it's 20 points. It's just so cheap now. So very easy to build them all. Let me go check in Alaska, because I didn't build that up. Yeah, they cost so little to build. So very little. So how are we doing with that construction now that you own it all? They literally, our reinvestment is almost at 10 million now. It's just been shooting upwards. Probably because half our construction equipment is owned by companies anyway, so they're just reinvesting the profit in an almost indefinite cycle, which sounds like I should investigate that for corruption, but we're not going to. Yeah, steel prices go back up. Are we importing steel? Yeah, 4,000, which I really wouldn't call much of an importation at that point. Almost 70,000 iron now. Tula is suffering. I mean, it should be fine soon once the new buildings are finished, but it is suffering. Russian grain prices. I don't know if building up their rye farms would end well. It might work out, but I'm not certain that it would. I need the abroad one again. Herson, Mings. Mings could get some. What about down here? Because I know they haven't invested down here at all. They ignored. And then there is Persia we could invest into. I've kind of largely ignored Persia because usually there's an infrastructure issue somewhere, but it looks like they actually have viable infrastructure. Probably because our company owns it and they have a lot of peasants still. And then, oh yeah, Russia does own Southern Jillian right now, which I've definitely butchered the pronunciation of, and I shall be court-martialed shortly. Yeah, just get more of that going. Did they incorporate this state? I assume not. No, they didn't, so they're not collecting anything. Almost 20% of the population are in mild starvation here. Jesus. That's terrible. Using all that construction ourselves is prohibitively expensive, but I made sure that when I'm not using it, we're actually fine. And we don't bleed to death financially, so it can fluctuate and we'll be okay in the end. Let me guess, you're getting Social Security benefits? Yeah, you're getting welfare payments because your wages are too low. I thought so. Our welfare payments are probably shot up pretty hard because of that. Yeah, 1.64 million. They really did shoot up. But honestly, that's fine. It's working out for us in the end. The economy grew. Standard of living grew. The population is still growing, which is either good or bad, depending on your preference. Steel mill prices are up. Oil's up. How much oil are we importing now? 86,000. Sorry, 84,000. But at the rate this is going, 86,000 really isn't that far off. Yeah, Samara still can have more. In fact, it's getting more development right now as we speak. Kiev could probably get more built. I just don't know if it would go too well for it. It's actually got some that it's not using. Oh, wait. Is that because it's getting bought up by the company? Yeah. It's because companies are buying it up, and because the companies are buying it, it gets throughput, which gives it more trade capacity. Because that's how that works. And then... Oh, the game does not like me opening the company profit menu. The Colt company is over $1 million in profit, at least. I'm not surprised that it's struggling. It's a lot of the arms industries are kind of being overbuilt now. So profitability is a bit of a tough margin for it to get. Why can't you build these? Oh, they're already at maximum capacity. I see. Well, don't do them then. Oh, they're building lead mines themselves. Your all oil rigs are being built up. Oh, I just realized, is Azerbaijan, is Baku, sorry, I said Azerbaijan, is Baku's oil field discovered? It is, but only up to level 25. Then this iron mine is almost fully staffed. And they're exporting 40,000, I love it. You gotta love it. Just do 30 for now. They don't have enough. Oh, there's been a coup in Russia. In the game, I'm sorry, not outside the game. In the game, there's been a coup. It looks like the industrialists just couped the government. Suppose laissez-faire wasn't good enough for them. Thank you, Adam, and welcome. I see your badge has changed a little, so now you've been a member for a month, which is really awesome. I think we could actually finish this. If we go another hour, we could easily get to this to 1930 and probably finish it off so we won't have to do a third episode. Might be a few years short, but at least we have actually wrapped it up instead of leaving it to die in the dark. I see our Chinese subjects are doing well, despite the occasional... See, I say they're doing well, and then another revolt breaks out while we're fighting a revolt. Which just makes me look bad. What is the 10th GDP now? River Plate at 123. Awesome. Russia just jumped to 404. I mean, look at this GDP graph for Russia. The moment we started investing into it, it's just jumping. I mean, if we did a third episode, that would be pretty much going beyond 1936. But the game's stability and performance is a bit shaky, especially because of the Windows security patch. I need to run a test afterwards to see if removing the February version of that patch would still fix it. I don't think it would. I think it would just revert me to January. But if I could then remove the January one, that might actually fix the problem. Because that is the update that's causing a 15 to 20% performance drop. Because I am using NVIDIA, which means the update is adversely affecting it. Which is really unfortunate. Oh, there's 117 furniture manufacturers here. I caught that out of the corner of my eye. I really should increase our automation more now that unemployment and peasants is falling. So let's switch a few areas. That is going to cause electricity shortages in a lot of areas, which obviously means we're going to want to... I was going to say we're going to want to build power plants, but immediately the investment pool has already assigned entire pages of power plants. I don't even need to build power plants. They'll do it for me. I can just ignore it. I can just let them do it on their own, even though it's temporarily harming our GDP, but that's fine. It'll be fine. Who needs a better GDP score anyway? I do. I want a better GDP score just because. Trade Center in Tula is suffering. But not suffering as much now. It's got a lot more capacity being used. So that's good. Russia is now exporting 42,000 iron. That is going to slow down as they start to use more of it for themselves. But in Samara, the trade center there is exporting 13,000 oil on its own for a hefty profit, too. They're exporting 63,000 oil. Oh, you love to see it. And we are importing almost 100,000 oil. The lion's share being from Russia, obviously. Engines being our biggest export wasn't exactly on my bingo card, but it's not too surprising given how I do them. Oh, I really don't want to subsidize you if I can help it. I could cut port subsidies at this point. Yeah, let's cut the port subsidies as well at this point, because they're also in the overbuilt state now. And it's just not good for me to fund them at all. If some of them shut down, it's whatever. It'll shuffle those people into better, more employable, better paying jobs. The oil rig in Texas is paying an average wage of 50. Oh no, it just cut their wage by 5 ducats. Sorry guys, that big juicy wage you got, yeah, just cut it by 5 ducats. Got to give the executives another Ford automobile. What about the one in Ohio? That one's at 30, so it's probably more reasonable. Oh, they just cut their wage again. That's funny. They're actually losing standard of living because of that. Yeah, I would, if the power block statue didn't constantly make the annoying sound every time you placed it down, I would do it. I probably should have just done it off camera, so that way people wouldn't have to hear the noise spam that it causes, because it does spam noise. Is this the same war? Or is this a new war? This is a new war. They were attacking Italy. Okay. Oh, Picardy joined it. Or is this a separate war that Picardy's involved in? No, it's the same... Oh, it's Spain. I see. I'm not used to Spain owning territory in France. It's the first time I've seen that. So I thought it was France that was fighting, and I was really confused as to how France was fighting. It didn't make sense to my brain until I figured out that it's because it's not France. And then it made sense. They're exporting clothes and luxury clothes. So they're exporting both. Persia backs down to Russia. I guess they took land from them because they didn't take anything else. Oh, they took Tabriz. Kinda sucks, but I can still invest into it, so I guess we don't care. Yes, the economy must grow, and we're at 29 standard of living now with all the modifications. Could cut taxes. But I also kind of want to give more subventions to the arms industry, except that would just cripple us into debt, which might not be great. It would technically harm the iron mines, but we could start using subventions to pay for imports for iron, just to get even more iron exports going. We don't really need to do that. It's already being sent to us at a very high pace, a very high amount. But it's something we could do. I'm sorry, I'm trying to find where it is here. It's already at plus 13% price. And Russia's almost got a pseudo-monopoly on it. Yeah, Russia controls 60% of exports, actually. But if we imported more iron at a rapid pace, maybe they would export more of it. I mean, they're already exporting most of it. It's not really like they could export much more without more development. But Perm is just heavily into the oil industry, which is heavily exported already. So we probably don't need to be splurging the money on that. We could just build up trade infrastructure instead somewhere. Is New York using all of its capacity? It is using all of its capacity. So let's just build up New York. And it's probably because New York's harbor is giving it another 15% on top of all the other bonuses, so it just has a huge trade capacity for money. It's actually making actual profit. It's not just the subventions carrying it. It's a lot of import profit, looking at this, with some export profit. It's mostly import profits. Because it is one of those states that has 100% market access price impact, but it also has the additional capacity bonus, which makes it easier for it to benefit. Are you actually hiring, or are you struggling to hire? You're actually hiring. It's just coincidental that we caught you when we did. Which will make this more profitable. It would be even more profitable if I actually made luxury clothes here. I've just chosen not to because I'm stubborn about it for no reason. There's no good reason for it. I'm just not doing it. Just because. Well, we are making as many clergy jobs as we can without building the power block statues. I just don't want to do it because the noise spam is irritating. But everything else, we're doing it as much as we can. Like, the urban center hasn't even fully hired clergymen because it's actually struggling to find new people to hire, which is kind of funny. Although it's probably going to start hiring a lot more now that the electricity prices came back down. It seems to be hiring and firing. Oh, it's because clergymen are joining the financial district, because the financial district keeps growing and they're living opulent lives. So there's your reason. How many clergymen do we have now? Clergymen now make up 3.16% of the whole population. So the clergy population has been growing. They just can't get the biggest because there's kind of limitations on their size. Actually, engineers followed by machinists who have the most clout because of their standard of living. 3.2 billion GDP now. We almost have 100,000 buy orders for Colt Revolvers, and 42,000 of that is pop consumption in our market. Germany is losing its war. Cool. And Russia might hit half a billion GDP if this continues. If this continues. There's actually a good chance they don't. But we're going to find out. Are they building synthetic plants here? They are. That's funny. I don't know why they're building all that there, but they are. Which, you know, good for them. Hope it goes well. Yeah, I expected the weekly balance here would suffer. That's why we're covering its costs, because it's not using all the trade capacity to make an actual profit, so it's paying a bunch of employees 25 ducats of an annual wage? Good God, you really need profitable trades then. I didn't realize they were being paid so much in the trade center in New York. It's basically just the bloody stock exchange at that point. Which, at least they're making a good profit, I guess, and consuming some of the stuff they import. Oh my God, the shopkeeper porcelain demand. It's not a big group, so it's only 127, but still. And small arms are actually buying 24 of them. Now, whether we actually use it depends on whether or not there's actually imports. You know what? Rubber. I am going to do subventions for rubber because we do actually need rubber. Like a lethal amount of rubber. It's been an extremely high price this whole time, and if we can buy more of it, that would be great. Even if all that does is just drive up the price and make me pay more out the nose for it. It'll also help places like New York run better because they'll get subventions for... They were already importing it to begin with. Now it's just even more profitable. And they can do a smaller trade price different margin on it and still make a profit. Yeah, I just saw rubber go up a little in imports. Don't think it's going to solve the issue that the tool workshops are having. This one's at 2.5 ducats instead of 2, so that's something. I don't think it'll even cause them to do more rubber out here. Oh, that's just a someone we clicked on. Don't worry. Yeah, there's still a lot of rubber that they're not exploiting, but yeah, at least it exists. You can actually import and use it. Think what else we should do is just get more product in Russia, being made in Russia, than just export to ourselves. Which sounds like we're just extracting resources from Russia to enrich ourselves, and I guess that's not really far off, is it? That's not really far off from what we're trying to do, if you think about it. They don't have the people to employ in there, but I'm going to build it up so they get pops attracted to it. Oh, they don't have the qualifications in Poland. Ah. That explains a lot. And that is kind of sad. But go on. Kursk could do wood and imports. Yeah, build them up. Why not? We'll go several million into debt just to invest into Russia more for no apparent reason. Other than I told them to. That's a lot. Yeah, this is importing over 20,000 oil on its own. In New York. And 10,000 coffee too. What is the coffee price right now, actually? I have not checked. It is at plus 15%. What is the world market like? About as many exports of coffee as there is imports of coffee. So you know what? We could actually do subventions for importing coffee as well, because we really do need coffee prices to come down in order to improve the standard of living. Especially at the higher strata levels. But things like porcelain, we'll just try to make that ourselves. Luxury furniture. It's better if we make it ourselves and give us some jobs at least. Even if the buildings are struggling to hire. Which is funny because there's so many unemployed pops. I guess because they're just trying to hire people who already have jobs. Which might feel a little counterintuitive when you could hire the guy who doesn't have a job yet. But oh well. What do I know about the Victorian hiring spirit? Nothing, I tell you. Absolutely nothing. I really don't. Oh, Columbia Socialist Revolt. That's funny. 29.4. It is heavily modified by at least +3, but we are close to an average standard of living of 30. Despite one of our companies literally just being about making military guns. Which is definitely not efficient. Oh yeah, let me check. Yes, Canada did become an extraction economy. They also have Canadian metalworks now. So it took a bit of time, but they did end up becoming an extraction economy. And so things like their oil here now have an extra 10 from being an extraction economy. And they lost things like their steel production points. Which no one really seems to mind, so yeah, there you go. They're squeezing out a little more, which might have kind of helped their economy grow a little more. Not too much, but, you know, what they have is making more. Presuming what was destroyed wasn't making more than that. Yeah, they should hit 500,000 here, especially since we're going a little longer. Let me tab out of that window. The construction window there, just because it's slowing the game down having it open. Just because of performance issues. I need to figure out what the YouTube is saying with the widget, like the resolution and not being supportive of the expected resolution being different, but I haven't heard any complaints about it yet, which it could just be no one's told me. Extraction economy is kind of, not kind of, extraction economy is like industry banned with different perks. Extraction economy hurts your investment pool, which does make that bad. But they make for a really good, oh, they did a concession. They make for good subjects, though. Industry banned, I believe, does not hurt your, yeah, it doesn't hurt your investment pool, but they both ban heavy industry. I have done a heavy industry banned run as the US twice, I think, on the channel. The second one we did was after they changed trade and made it to where there was no longer a hard cap on trade. Ooh, Koreans from Korea. And we were able to just build an economy that was over $1 billion in GDP despite not being able to build anything like steel and fertilizer. So that law and extraction economy are kind of, they're for fun, I would say, but you normally wouldn't go for them as a player overall. It doesn't mean they're inherently bad, it's just not optimal compared to all of your other choices. You could still go for it, it's just a lot of people don't want to. But if you have fun with it, by all means, knock yourself out and play it to your heart's content. It's the whole point of the game to begin with. Oh, you have 20. Cool. All right, Mexico. Don't bite the hand that feeds you, because you're going to extract more oil for us. Because while Russia still has plenty of oil to extract, it is starting to kind of teeter a bit into not having the pops stationed there, which I suppose isn't my problem. They'll eventually get over there. I would really like it if Russia upgraded the oil derricks. Oh, shoot. You know what? Screw me. They did. Funny thing, Russia is attacking Britain now to take a bunch of its subjects. And our subject of Mexico just tried to join on Britain's side. And now that we just joined it, they got forced out of it, which is really funny to me. Let's take a subject as well. I think we'll just take... I could take the British Congo, which would be nice because that actually has a lot of rubber that we could develop, but it doesn't have the pops. I'd rather just take the Colombian district so Canada's actually unified under our banner, so it, you know, it's America's. Transfer subject, Cape Colony, British Congo, Portugal, the Ottomans. Oh, I guess they never took the Ottomans in the end. The River Plate. Oh, the River Plate. See, that's kind of tempting too, because they are the 9th largest economy in the game. But getting down there would be a pain, so let's just take the easy way out. I know, it's the easy way. If I can actually find British Columbia here. Oh, can I not target that? Oh, no, I'm just not seeing them. Give me a minute. No, I think they're actually not here. Did Russia maybe target the British Congo? Sorry, British Columbia. Yeah, they did. Okay, all right. Well, that's fine, too. Apparently, Egypt is a subject. They're a protectorate. Okay. I don't think we could get the Congo. But I suppose if we're in this war regardless, we should try. Because that's what, 40 points? British Nigeria is 21. Yeah, it's 40 points. It doesn't knock us to the next level. On the other, the River Plate might not be too hard to invade. I'm just a little worried that if we pull it in, its market is going to collapse because it's probably reliant. Oh, it does make a lot of sugar, though. And it does have oil, though. Oh, I see how they make so much sugar. Yeah, I see how they make so much sugar. Oh, dear. Oh, dear, oh, dear. You know what? I wasn't going to do it because I thought it was a dumb idea, but I'm going to do it because it's a dumb idea. Which is 2 different reasons, but... we'll do it, and we'll kind of bring the Navy, both navies down there, maybe. No, we'll bring one to block the British ports. Even though I really should have... oh, dreadnoughts need radios, which we haven't started making yet. Oh. Mexico actually joined against us. Probably should have seen that one coming, but it's fine. It's not as if it'll be difficult. If I could assign... Oh, I forgot I could... Yeah, I forgot, chat. I could have had Canada do a war goal to take Newfoundland, and I still could have done my own war goal afterwards, because there's a little bypass. That actually wouldn't work. So, I know what you're saying, Vincent, about taking it and then using that to establish the Yankee culture there. That won't work because we both have the same language already. Because remember, the British Congo has English as a primary culture, which has the language of the Anglosphere already, and so does Dixie, or Yankee. So does Dixie as well, of course. So we actually can't enforce it because it technically, by the game's logic, already has our language. Wait, technically, it actually would in real life as well, if you think about it. But how the game works, mechanically speaking, it wouldn't let us switch it. Because it already has the language. So we'll contain these. Maybe we can invade England proper. Don't think so. You know what? Actually, invading England proper would make this war end faster. And if we blockade it, it'll get crippled. We are spending a lot of money. Because we are constructing. Right. Yep, forgot. I already forgot. It's okay. Don't worry. It'll fix itself. It's fine. Everything's fine. We're so close to 10 GDPC despite us being a little silly here. So very close, and yet we are so very far. Taking the River Plate would be nice, though. I cannot wait to see the money it would give us. Probably the amount of money Canada's giving us right now at 126k before payment reduction. We could actually stop the payment reduction. I'm just choosing to do it because it helps keep them loyal. Which is definitely preferable to them being hostile. Russia, thanks to our heavy investments, has now hit 500 million GDP. Its peasant numbers are down to about 11 million as well. Oh, its rye farms did employ. That's good, because that means all of those peasants are not peasants that are actually demanding goods now. So that's nice. Let's actually pull one of you off the Mexican front there. I was going to say, I think I saw a general die, but I couldn't recall. And the answer is yeah. Except judging by the lack of organization in the army, he died a while ago. It's not some recent just happened thing. I know we wanted to be employing evangelicals, but it's so rare that you get the armed forces to stay above 10% clout. Right? Game balance has dashed your hopes. No! I was worried that Austria might withdraw from the treaty because of our infamy, and they did. I have to kind of... I'd have to give them an obligation. I mean, I guess it's fine. We don't need the investment into Austria at this point. It's Russia that needs to be developed. Austria doesn't really have any peasants at this point. Hungary has some, but it's not that critical. Russia is kind of the place that needs the investment. And it's the place that's getting the investment. Bengali pops from Bengali into North Dakota. Ah, Bengal's having trouble. Well, that makes sense. Actually, Bengal... You have a lot of opium potential. Oh, you've, like, fully built out. You just have a lot of unemployed pops you can't use. Well, that's unfortunate for them. Oh, these oil rigs are making so much money. 75,000 oil exports now. We're importing 122,000 oil, 87 iron, and 33,000 rubber. Is that our naval invasion? Yes. Which might succeed. I say might because... it's been fickle before, and it can be fickle again. How are we doing with cutting them off from the market? They're still connected to the British market. I assume it's not that blockaded yet, if at all. It's 30% blockaded. Probably because their ships are defending. Yeah, it's slowly ticking up. Blockade strength's not established. But it's kind of there. It's kind of there. Don't think we win it, though. Well, we'll see at the first battle. Maybe we win. 73 defense. Stalwart defender, yeah. Yep. Could still win because the offense and defense are near the same. And we might just take less casualties overall. but that is going to be a difficult victory. Crippling British trade might inadvertently harm our own economy a bit, so I'm glad we're investing more into Russia and investing with them instead. There we go. I was wondering where the other goods were. Importing almost 50,000 coffee now. Our subventions are at 1.3 million, and most of that is still just small arms exportation. Okay, start funding these again because their infrastructure's gone negative. New York's at an affluent average. That's cool. Still a lot of unemployed pops, though. Which, at this point, it might just be the company hiring practices have been so bizarre because of the companies we've picked that it's just a really weird outcome. So, the game's telling me this would not be profitable for food industries, chat. We're doing it anyway. More automation for the automation gods. Oh, that is not profitable. Why is everything so dead? Well, there's your problem as to why it's not profitable. There's your problem. Your food's too cheap. Nah, it wouldn't actually give us more loyalists at this point. The, multiculturalism technically does, because we have a lot of Han pops and whatnot who would actually be more discriminated if we didn't have multiculturalism. Plus, thanks to multiculturalism, we've been getting tens of millions of pops just naturally. We have almost 39 million Han pops here now, and they've been assimilating into Yankee and Dixie cultures. Which, it's why our population has just been growing almost endlessly. And why we're, probably having a variety of weird issues. The food industry is going to collapse now because of the new automation I built in, but considering how destroyed the grocery... Oh. The grocery prices were destroyed when I activated the automation, so I guess some of them weren't full? Weird. But okay. That's fine, then. You'll still get more people to a higher standard of living later. The belly of puck's done. Honestly, running 1 million in deficit really isn't that scary, especially considering we're at war right now. It's not that scary. Okay, the naval invasion doesn't look like it's succeeding. Sometimes it is because the guy who gets in charge isn't a good defender. And then sometimes it's someone who is a good defender. But we are holding a lot of the British army in the home counties. Which does mean Russia can fight elsewhere if it is fighting anywhere else. Oh, they've actually invaded China, which... Oh, well, China's just gonna have to deal with it. Oh, yeah, give the clergymen more vote power. That's exactly what we want to do. We want to give them more vote power, not less. Oh? Ah! I could choose to entrench further in the home counties and give it devastation. Just immediate 10% devastation to mess with them. Or... I get 8k to stormtroopers? Yeah, it's only a 3% difference, but I get a technology boost, which is arguably better. The area suffers negatives for 10 years anyway. No, the army can't take more groceries. We'd have to expand the army. Which is already fairly sizable to begin with. How much of the population is in the army, actually, if we include ships? That was the culture button. I've made a mistake. I have made a terrible mistake. Counting officers, less than 1% of the population is in the army, actually. Which is a lot less than I expected. We actually have more machinists and laborers now, which is cool. Now, if the unemployed could get down, that'd be great, but given there's such a small minority of the population, I don't think that's going to happen. Okay, yeah, they've thrown a lot of troops at this point for the defense. So, we're going to bring the other ones down. Not Santa Fe, that's not their capital. We'll just invade Argentina so we can just kind of take Argentina at least. Because most of our armed forces are sitting at HQs now. In fact, no, let's demobilize them, actually. That way our financial situation is more stable. Oh, synthetic plants could make silk. Would that be profitable? It claims it would be profitable, but I don't know if that's actually true. Oh, you know, I guess it would be profitable. Why is... Oh, because dye would become more expensive. And I guess wood is cheaper? See, I feel like it's lying to me. That the math isn't mathing in my head. But maybe it's because then the silk will get exported. So maybe it's just me and I don't understand it very well right now. I guess, yeah, because the silk prices went back up, so it works. And it's just adding wood, which is very cheap. Wood input is very cheap, yeah. Yeah, no, I guess it was roughly telling the truth, mostly. I say mostly because it's kind of fluctuating. Yeah, we're already on... Yeah, well, we put the army on the max production method a while ago for supplies. We did it as soon as we got it. Oh, the 5th American Army is actually not on it. Oops. Okay, so technically the army could take a bit more because the 5th Army wasn't set up properly. I didn't realize that they weren't set up. I think they were our newest army group as well, so that's kind of why. Yeah, the entire British army is over there defending the homeland now, so we could probably just invade Argentina here and take it over. Although, I don't think they'd give it to us because there's a lot of other areas that need to be invaded that aren't invaded, so we might just not get it. Which kind of sucks, but I expected that we wouldn't get it to begin with. Oh, established the film arts. I was like, what is this one? What is this? There's not a lot of options there. Do we have any... Interesting. You know, we researched the mass propaganda movement. We still haven't seen a fascist movement in the game. There is a fascist armed forces leader, though, but no fascist movement. Which is interesting. I love it. There's a fascist agitator for the armed forces, and then there's a communist agitator for the armed forces. Which I find amusing. You know what? You can't even be granted leadership. Because the corporatist movement isn't pressuring it. Wow, I mean, movements are... It's not that the movements are weak. It's that they're just heavily divided. The liberal movement's at 32%? I know it's got a 20% boost. I've never seen a movement maintain this much strength for this long over the course of the game. Usually other movements eat the liberal movement alive and just swallow it whole. So I'm actually really surprised that it still has so much support. Because I've not actually seen this in the game before. State urbanization-based support literacy. Obviously the agitators, the time support. Is it just stronger than all the other ones, I guess? Above expected standard of living. Pop loyalists. Huh. Yeah, okay. Interesting. I know the corporatist movement is because they're above base standard of expected standard of living, so it's struggling. Certain, like, socialist movements suffer from that, too. I think, like, the lower strata are less likely to join if they're doing well, I think. The labor movement doesn't really care. Yeah, like, the communist movement, for example, the lower strata is getting a massive malice to joining it if they're above their expected standard of living. The communist movement gets a lot of its strength from Pops not doing well. So if Pops are doing well, they don't really get a lot of strength. They're still at 8%, but that's not as much as it could be. Not as much as it could be. Oh, wow, the deficit's below 1 million? It's a miracle. And half of it's just interest payments? It's even better. So we might not hit 30 standard of living at this rate. I'm running out of ways to push it further. I am going to switch everything over to making synthetic silk because it looks like we can actually just make a nice kind of profit off of that. And that is at least more profitable than what's going on right now. Especially since wood is cheap, and that's actually going to help the logging camps too. Because we are exporting, we're actually consuming silk? Oh, yeah, I totally forgot they had added silk as a consumable good for luxury. I completely forgot about that. That would explain some things. Huh. Silk obsessions are back on the menu, I guess. Not that I think that'll ever happen, but that would be really funny. Since it is now technically, by all means, a consumable good. That did chunk us up to 3.4 billion GDP. If peasants and unemployed are the exact same number, the game's just calling the peasants unemployed now. Oh dear, oh dear, I was not paying attention. And they got a naval invasion off on the District of Columbia. I wasn't paying any attention to that. I was still hooked on the fact that we're stuck over there at the naval invasion. We can clear it up pretty fast, but it's gonna hurt the local area. Oh, they burnt down the White House again. We actually don't make any luxury clothes in the US. We actually don't do that at all. We actually import all of our luxury clothes, so we can just focus on regular clothing. But maybe it is time to start making luxury clothes. It would add shopkeeper jobs, and we can make our own silk at this point. So I guess we'll do that. It is going to hurt trade a bit because they won't be able to trade for that anymore. They'll have to buy something else. But, what the hell, we'll do it. Wow, wait, really? It's actually, well, right now it's saying it'd be more profitable if it didn't prioritize it. That's because it wouldn't need to hire shopkeepers. But the importation of luxury clothes should die in the trade centers, which it is. And we should see pop consumption of it grow, which is going to hurt luxury furniture, and it is going to hurt porcelain because more pops are buying other goods instead. But those prices have been high all the time that it's probably better this way. And more of the unemployed pops getting jobs would also be good because the food industry suffered a bit of a financial collapse. Yeah, there we go. The peasant and unemployed populations both fell. You know what, Vincent? That was actually a good call. I didn't think it would work very well for us, but it looks like it actually did work fairly well. Because I was just focused on all the other products we were making and furniture manufacturers too. But yeah, it worked out. It got more people jobs. It was a good call. The productivity is going to come back down a bit as things kind of saturate and clothing gets a bit imported. Plus, electricity is expensive in New York. But that is going to make the synthetic plants run a lot better too. Since now the silk production definitely got more expensive. Where is Rhodes Island? Yeah, it's definitely doing a lot better. Be good if they were a part of a company, too. Standard of living is suffering, though, on average, because Maryland is suffering, which... Yay. More suffering. Go ahead and move out. Let's probably do a dual invasion of Britain at this point. If I can figure out where the other navy went. Oh, it's all the way over. It's over in Russia. That's why I can't find it. I was wondering. But yeah, the state of Maryland is suffering a lot right now. It can't make any GDP. And it makes a lot of our glass. Because I let that invasion slip through us. Well, I mean, we already import a lot of stuff. We're almost importing 100,000 iron. We're importing over 100,000 oil from Russia. Now, they're exporting 81,000 to the world market, and we're importing that up to 102,000, but still, that's a lot. Speaking of which, Russia is now the second largest exporter in the game, which is very cool. Having to, like, slowly start paying for some of these areas again because they just cannot keep the infrastructure going. Okay, there we go. Maryland is going to start recovering now, and I'm actually going to pay for the railway there because the infrastructure is dead. And I need to keep the railway functional or else it'll stay dead. So that'll probably cut our unemployment back down because it did spike up due to that. How is the embargo or the blockade doing? Yeah, give it enough time, it'll be fully set up. So, now that it's been a bit of time and they should be busy elsewhere. Oh, you're in the middle of a fight, so you can't even do it yet. I was gonna say we could try to do a dual invasion. Oh, wait, isn't there capital in the Highland? No, it was temporarily repositioned because of a civil war. It looks like it's not positioned there anymore. No, we've maxed out the USA's oil capacity. We've built all the rigs we can, and they are as automated and as upgraded as they can be. There's nothing more we can do to increase oil capacity in the US proper. Even our largest ones in areas like Texas are maxed out. They can't produce more. We have to import at this point in order to get more oil to utilize. New Granada, why would you forsake me? Why would you leave me? I'm only at 53 infamy. I'm only just a little scary. Maybe they'll make a breakthrough with 2 of them focused, but we'll see. We're at 82% for the blockade now, and this is their capital state, and I think it's their market capital. I think it's their market capital. No, it's not. It can't be their market capital. Where's their market capital? Ah, in Yorkshire. Or Yorkshire. Yorkshire? I think it's Yorkshire. I'll get clowned on about it later. Canada's not maxed out, but it had an issue where some of them were starting to downsize because they couldn't hire anyone. But we can spam a couple out and hope they just get pops anyway. The last I checked, they were kind of struggling to hire people. Like this logging camp is struggling. It's not even half employed. We are at 3.5 billion GDP now, though. Probably due to all the luxury clothes. Still plenty of trade capacity. Not as much trade capacity in excess as I expected. Okay, I think we might get the naval invasion off now that they're divided between 2 points instead of just the 1 point. But we could easily fail. It really just comes down to whether or not we get messed up on with casualties. Maybe Sardinia, Piedmont will... I don't even know where Sardinia is. I don't even see them on the map here. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. And yeah, no, we just consume way too much oil. No, it's just none of it's enough. Anyway, there's about to be a mass wave of death. Yeah. Oh, that's gonna hurt. Yikes. But yeah, no, the 10% helps a bit, but it's just, it's nowhere near enough. With the amount we consume, the amount of oil we're using on a daily basis, it's nowhere near enough. Guess we'll just upgrade the military at this point, because I've got nothing better to invest into now. Maybe get radios, even though we have less than 6 years, and now there's a pandemic going on, which makes me a little wary about whether this game will reach its end or not. Because it's going to really destroy our stats. We have a lot of people counting on us. I do want to at least get the War with Britain wrapped up. Which maybe we do. It's a little dicey, though. Because we have a lot less troops than they do, but they're losing a lot more troops in combat compared to us. It's like a 8-to-1 ratio on losses. Which is good. But their numbers could be enough with some sufficient troops to stop us anyway. Unless the bad troops get chosen, which is possible. Just kind of holding my breath here. We'll see. Oh, yeah, they rolled the blunder. See, I said yes to that, but I don't actually want to embargo them because I want them to keep buying my stuff. Yeah, there we go. That blunder broke the army before it could even rally. So that will actually give us their capital. Occitanian mass migration. There we go. So Britain should surrender now because now they've got nothing keeping them in the war. Do it for the war. What is lower on the scale of standard of living? This one is. Oh, wow. Wine is cheap and developed. Mostly cheap. Oh, it's because the tooling workshop here isn't paying people properly, so they're just really suffering. Cool. I love that. I don't love that. It sucks, but I have to pretend to love it. All right, are there more people we can employ in the government, perhaps? The answer is absolutely. Which at least will get some people jobs, and it'll get us a bit more money that we're not realizing. There's over 1 million unemployed pops here, and they just cannot get them all indoors. More revolts in China. They just... I'm guessing it's because of all the unemployed pops, because they're starving. They don't really have a welfare system down there. So, Britain is really not going to hit capitulation until it's over. But it is effectively over. Their capital's been occupied. We have a beachhead. There's not really a way for them to win this now. And I'm actually going to move our blockade over to blockade Yorkshire. Since that will choke them out. We'll see what it looks like afterwards. Jason, you said something. The message has been retracted. Which is okay. Oh, 29.9. Finished mass migration. It's going to fall back down now. Poor Russia's being hit by that flu now. Which, unfortunately, will not burn out in their country. It will spread. It will eventually reach us. Almost inevitably so. But we're at least going to capture Argentina, which we have burnt to the ground. Yeah, they've lost millions of pops. But it's money that Britain won't get anymore, which is fine by me. Oh, did they move the market capital? No, this is the market capital. Okay, there we go. So, okay, we still have a war going on, it looks like. In the Philippines. I need to find the other one here. I didn't realize the Philippines had gotten fully occupied by an ongoing conflict. Argentina's back on the board, and its economy has collapsed because everyone died. Thanks to us. Oil rush forced on. Oh, I didn't know you could force it on. That's cool. Also tells you I haven't been paying attention to that. Given time, they'll reconnect to everything, and it'll do better. Oh, map mode's breaking again. Sometimes it gets stuck on a specific map mode, and I don't know what causes that. There we go. We're back off it again. Oh, over 1 million subsidies, over 1 million subventions. But we're nearing the end of the game, so at this point we can just deficit spend and not really care. We'll still get through it by the end of it all. I wanted to check this. 141,000 oil, 106,000 iron. 61,000 small arms are being exported. Oh, it's delicious. Ugh. 3.6 billion GDP. We're not quite hitting 10 GDP per capita. But we're close to it. I mean, if we made products a bit more expensive, that would technically help. Which I guess would include just mass exports, but yeah. It also helped with the arms industry was actually fully employed, not constantly hiring and firing people. But I don't think they care too much for that. Oh, I see some of the trade centers are starting to run quite the deficit now, huh? Alright. We can actually make several million more in revenue if I just raised taxes. You know, I think we're nearing the end of this at this point. It's getting pretty slow and we're running out of things to do. So I'm going to increase the subventions on the small arms again. We're just going to deficit spend and we're going to see how high we can get those exports in just one go. Because it is going to hit a bottom at some point. The question is, where is that bottom? It also means certain trade centers that we were funding won't need as much money from us now. So I guess the good news is that the subsidies go down, the subventions go up. It maybe balances out a little. Although I don't think it will really balance out that much. Oh, it's importing so much oil and iron over here. And the trade center in New York has almost $500,000 in weekly revenue from just imports. It has over $500,000. Well, the subventions are involved in that too, but of course we're trying to encourage them to buy things for us. There we go. It's starting to make more Colt Revolvers now. And we managed to just barely hit an average standard of living of 30 with low taxes instead of very low. Not the best, but, you know, we're kind of memeing with the whole Cult of Colts thing. This is definitely not optimized. And then the amount of pops we have is kind of high. This is actually larger than the actual US population IRL right now. So that's fun. Russia's over 600 million in GDP, primarily thanks to funding from us. Be great if they'd done it on their own, but that wasn't going to happen, let's be real here. They weren't going to do that well. It was not happening. We didn't quite hit 10 GDP per capita, but I think it's because it's the companies we picked built a lot of tooling workshops and a lot of steel mills, and they're just not fully hiring, so people are never getting employed. It would have been a lot better to have, like, the Carnegie Steel Company would have definitely been better. Still Steel Company, yes, but your iron and coal would get a significant boost. So we'd have more iron, we'd have more coal, and those generally always make a profit. And they pay their workers really well, too, when they're making all that profit as well. Like 35 here in this coal mine, 42 in this iron mine. It is really good. I think, are you on maximum automation? Yes, you are. I was going to say, I don't know if the laborers are supposed to be here still or not. But that's fine. The glassworks are actually starting to suffer a little, which is funny. The food industry is kind of employed again. Kind of. It's still struggling. It's paying their workers a lot less because they overbuilt, but I'm not really surprised that they overbuilt. We kind of let them. See, the tool workshop that didn't overbuild is doing really good. The one that did is suffering. Yep, the Colt Revolvers are making a lot more now. We're making over 200,000 Colt Revolvers now. With over 43,000 just being made in Connecticut. Almost 80,000, wait, almost 80,000 in New York? Oh, I didn't notice that when I was looking over here, that they made so much in New York. Oh, they're even paying better in New York, too. Even though it's probably not that profitable for them. 50,000 pop consumption, 85,000 trade centers. The biggest importer is actually Russia now instead of Britain. Although I think Britain is still suffering defunct arms industries. Yeah. Yeah, the arms industry in Britain's market has collapsed. They make almost none of them domestically. And as for Russia, it's the same boat. They actually import it all. So the reason why it's making a profit and cash reserves are going down, that is because the owners were taking more out than the weekly balance. Because what will happen is if the owners of the building are at risk of losing their standard of living, they will try to take more money out of the building to maintain their standard of living up to a certain point. So that's what you're seeing when it's going down despite the profit there, is the building's owners trying to maintain their current standard of living as it is. Because if you see here, they were net negative. They just went net positive again. So that's why that happens. There's almost 1 million people working in this building with assembly lines. Be about 1.6, 1.7 million if there weren't any assembly lines. Just to give you an idea. Yeah, they're completely dependent on Colt Revolvers. There might be other countries dependent on it too. Germany and Austria we haven't checked on. Germany is completely dependent on importing Colt Revolvers. Austria is completely dependent on importing Colt revolvers. Revolvers in guns in general, really. Picardy is definitely dependent on it because there's no arms industry over here. I don't even see one over here. So they're definitely dependent. So, yeah, while we are destroying our budget and racking our economy by doing this mass export of Colt revolvers, it appears to have destroyed the global market for arms industries. Because each country we check is making almost no guns domestically. They want to go to war with us, but they can't make their own guns. They have to use American weapons in order to win. Which is funny. I'm pretty sure Brazil, yep, Brazil, same boat, doesn't even have someone employed. Yeah, I think it's safe to say that anyone that's trading with us is dependent on Colt revolvers. Now, obviously, our subjects are in our market, so they have access. I don't know if Japan is dependent. I assume they are. Because they aren't really developed to that extent. But yeah, they don't even have an arms industry built. So they are completely dependent on the imports. Although that makes more sense for them because they usually don't get developed well enough. I shouldn't be checking the Colt revolvers. I should be checking the small arms, which, yeah, Korea, same thing. So with subventions and everything else, we have completely decimated the global market for small arms. Colt revolvers completely dominate the market, and about 50,000 are consumed every week at home. I guess they go through a lot of ammunition. And the second highest consumer of that is actually clergymen because of all the ownership dividends they have. Oh yeah, I forgot. Colt revolvers need hardwood, don't they? Yeah, did actually forget about that. Cool. Explains why it's actually profitable. We're at 3.7 billion GDP now as well. Partially because the population is rising, but our unemployment pool has been falling, which is slowly lowering welfare payments, aside from those working in buildings that are not paying well. Illinois is actually paying 12.9 now, though. So one of them started paying better. 6.7, that is better. Because before, when we looked at some of these, they were paying almost nothing. It was like 2 to 4 ducats. The average wage is now 9.7. Sorry, the normal wage is now 9.7, so that's good. The clergyman working here. We're almost out of time, though. We are probably going to call it here soon because we're kind of reaching the end of the game. We only have a couple of years left, and the performance is increasingly getting slower and degrading. But I mean, look at those weapons. 83k are being exported, and we still have trade capacity. Which I think tells me they can't export anymore, that it's just not possible at this point. Import of oil. I mean, are you telling me New York could import more stuff? I mean, in theory, it looks like they have the capacity, but I assume that's because the capacity is getting used. But it's so slow now, I have to close, like, all the little UI widgets here, just so it keeps going at a faster speed. Connecticut has 78 trade centers being built. I didn't even set those to be built, so that was just the AI. The private construction queue is setting that up. Let it go a few more months here at least. More, oh yeah, you know, I mean, like, more government administration and more universities. If we think about it, those both give us more clergymen. Which is probably a bit easier to facilitate overall. If you think about it. Plus, we heavily maxed out our bureaucracy, which is fun. There's 91 steel mills in the District of Columbia. Why? It doesn't even use that much steel. It just, I don't understand the company sometimes. I really don't. Sometimes they do wild things. They really do. Okay, what is this trade center doing now? Is it actually fully using it? What? Why is your trade revenue through the roof? What? What? That doesn't make... Did we just fire a bunch of people? Yes. But that's temporary, I believe. Yeah, because the demand, I was going to say the demand should go back up. The trade exports kind of fell temporarily. It had like a sudden shock to the system there for a moment. Oh. Uh-oh. The plague's arrived and it's going to wreck the economy. And we're on October 1st of 1931. I think this is the best stopping point for it because from this point onwards is going to be the next couple years of the plague destroying the economy and killing a lot of people. And we only have a few years left while the game's getting laggier and laggier. So this is like the optimal spot to stop it. Despite the increased trade capacity. This was fun though. We actually destroyed, I've just eviscerated all the arms industries. Now like France isn't importing because they don't have access. Portugal, I think, is just suffering because they have no market access. Yeah, it's a completely unrelated issue. But yeah, so Colt Revolvers completely dominate militaries across the globe. 385 million people live in the United States of America. And of those, 41 million live in New York alone. The highest GDP is also New York, of which 28% is groceries, 21% is small arms. So you're saying about 64 million GDP is just small arms in New York. Connecticut, which is 50% small arms at this point, 23% services, is 57 million on its own. It's mainly just small arms and then just selling stuff to the owners of the Colt. And I'm pretty sure our best company is Standard Oil by far, I'm sure. Which I do want to check because that interests me. Yep, still Standard Oil, but the other companies did get a bit closer to it. The Metalworks company actually made a resurgence, considering it was struggling for a good while with the tool workshops. It actually came back, which is very awesome. Which of these groups is larger? This one? Yeah, that makes sense. The largest capital group of 435,000 people, and they're consuming 4.33 thousand small arms daily. Almost as many cars. Well, this was very fun. Thank you all for coming. I hope you had an entertaining time here. And I hope to see you all next time.